This feudal lord is highly scientific. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151, Orth's Vision and New Mission. Above the castle of Azan, the thick black cloud expanded more and more, and tiny electric currents ran back and forth in the black cloud. The dark cloud even spread to the Great Wall. The Great Prince Trang stood on the wall of Azan, looking at the spreading dark cloud with a smile on his face, and whispered, "Is it that the little starlight kid who plays with thunder and lightning who has been promoted? Haha, not bad, not bad." Behind him, the Great Sword Earl and other defenders were fighting with the sea of monsters. "Do we need to pull him into the goddess's pantheon?" the starlight level old man behind the Great Prince asked him. No, no, no. The Great Prince narrowed his eyes, but his smile remained unchanged. That little Earl seems to be very unwilling. At this point, the dark girl on the other side of the Great Prince immediately stepped forward. "I will go and redeem him." "No need." The Great Prince waved his hand, and his smiling face seemed a little deep. "Legends cannot be insulted lightly. The kingdom has not had a new scholar legend for a long time. Your Majesty will be very happy." Speaking of His Majesty, the wall became silent. The eldest prince looked at the expanding dark clouds for a while, and finally turned around and looked at the endless lava swamp and said, "The main body has dealt with those star beasts, and you should be on your way, right?" The star level people agreed one after another. "Dark girl, how is little Liquor?" The eldest prince was observing the situation on the battlefield and asked casually. The dark girl hesitated for a moment before saying, "My kingdom of God is about to be destroyed by her." As soon as these words came out, everyone was silent again. Mist Banshee chuckled. "Little Liquor is even helpless to her mother, but His Majesty likes her the most." The dark girl glanced at the Mist Banshee next to her and said, "Why not give it to Misty? She has a good relationship with Liquor." "Humph, I don't want it. If you give it to me, I will let her out." Misty replied to the dark girl with a chuckle. Before he could finish, he was interrupted by the eldest prince. "Okay, everyone, get ready. The star level monster is coming." Just as the stars were preparing to fight, the dark clouds in the sky suddenly shrank towards the center, and purple lightning phantoms appeared in the sky. These lightning phantoms were not like natural lightning, but formed spheres and flew around, circling around a certain center, and there were more and more spherical lightning. These spherical lightnings circled layer by layer and moved irregularly. In the center of these lightnings, there was a huge sphere, which was the dark clouds gathered before. Zzzz. More and more lightning phantoms formed, and even the battle outside the Great Wall was suspended. As time went on, the phantoms of the spherical lightning gradually approached the black sphere in the center, and moved irregularly outside the sphere. An increasingly powerful pressure came from it, and within a radius of 1,000 miles, Simonolus metal products began to tremble, as if they were about to be sucked away by some unknown force. All the intelligent creatures near Azan stopped doing anything, and witnessed this scene, the birth of a new legend. "What lore is this? I've never seen it before." The Mist Banshee looked puzzled. "It's very powerful electricity, but it's not just electricity. It feels very strange." The dark girl muttered to herself, while holding an exaggerated scythe. Only the eldest prince narrowed his eyes and whispered, "Gravity? Or repulsion? That's obviously my father's domain." The star level creatures were all whispering to judge the lore that the new legend had comprehended and all the new professions he might bring. At this moment, a voice spread from above the castle of Azan, shocking everyone. "I am the king of electromagnetism." The pressure from the legend was all taken back by AOF, and the thunder element was also absorbed. Boom boom. The thunder lore of Nasan was cheering and jumping for joy, celebrating the birth of another legend who controls thunder in Nasan. However, becoming a legend is different from becoming a god. When one becomes a god, the announcement of the name of the god will resound throughout Nasan. But to become a legend, only some extremely powerful people can feel it, and they also need to have a similar understanding of the rules. Azan Castle. It seems that it has been successful. In the future, our Azan will also have the protection of legends. Great, great. The ancestors of Azan are protecting us. The servants all cheered and hugged each other, and some were moved to sing those popular songs, the ones sung by Sophie. Sir Orf succeeded. So handsome. Lalita jumped for joy, and by the way, she picked up Nyx and kissed him hard. She was excited. She was excited. After wandering in Assen for so long, the monarch she found now was a disciple of a legend. This was equivalent to her having the protection of a legend. In the future, Sir Orf's name will be the king of electromagnetism. I wonder if he can create a corresponding career path. Ramel smiled and was also a little excited. This was the first time he witnessed the birth of a legend, and even many poems were stuck in his throat. He felt countless inspirations and opportunities for breakthroughs. Bard chanting what he saw and heard during his wandering, and turning it into poetry. And he saw the birth of greatness with his own eyes, which was also helpful for his breakthrough. However, everyone was cheering, and after becoming a legend, AOF did not land in the open space outside Azan as imagined, but turned into a lightning, and went directly underground. Ramel then found something wrong. Where is Master Lin Ke? Where did he go? This is AOF's breakthrough, and Master Lin Ke is not here to witness it. Ramel immediately looked at Butler Billy, and Butler Billy also looked over. His face was a little confused, and a little solemn. Small space. Lin Ke felt the gradually weakening magic fluctuations, as if spewing magic. Just now, his teacher went out to breakthrough, and he was going to watch it. He hadn't seen the appearance of a legendary breakthrough. But after AOF absorbed all the lightning element, magic fluctuations appeared here. Even so, Lin Ke would not rashly explore, but would wait for AOF to come before exploring. Who knew that the magic fluctuations were slowly weakening? And the system appeared again. Emergency task, because of the magic vacuum. The secret of the dragon lineage of the Holy Life Alliance flashed away. Please seize this only chance to explore the mysterious place and collect the secrets in it. Reward, clues to the dragon. It is said that there are no dragons in the Holy Life Alliance now, and even many races have disappeared in the long river of time. But the meaning of the task is to say that there are traces of dragons here? Exclamation mark. In desperation, Lin Ke could only choose to explore. If there is a huge danger, the system will have a prompt, but the system did not prompt, so Lin Ke chose to explore and try. He followed the direction of the magic fluctuation, then entered the mine cave of the iron ore and walked down. The mine cave was dim, and Lin Ke did not bring a lamp, so he used a first level magic illumination to illuminate the way ahead. Before reaching the end of the mine cave, Lin Ke finally sensed the place where the magic fluctuated. Before he found out what it was, he saw Zyrozingian on his shoulder flapping his wings hard and shouting quack in one direction. There. Zyrozingian conveyed his thoughts to Lin Ke according to the master-servant contract. So he turned around and looked. It was an ordinary sulfur ore. No, it should be a piece of amber. There is a difference between sulfur and amber. This piece of amber is embedded in the stone. Lin Ke tried to take it out but couldn't. There were traces of cutting and digging next to it. But maybe the slaves are not interested in this small piece of sulfur ore. After all, they all have to catch up with the performance, so no one continues to pay attention to it. So, the secret is here. Lin Ke touched it with his hand and input magic power. It's the end of the month. Hand in all the extra monthly tickets, otherwise it will be a pity to invalidate it. Right. Asterisk. People. Asterisk. Chapter 152. The Plane of the Magma Dragon. A flash of light flashed, and Lin Ke disappeared from the spot along with the amber in his hand, and Zyrozingian also disappeared. A strong sense of teleportation came, but fortunately Lin Ke had experienced similar feelings before, so this time he did not scream like last time. Before he opened his eyes, waves of heat came towards him. Gulp. The sound of bubbles bursting came out, and when Lin Ke opened his eyes, all he saw was deep red magma, hot rocks, pungent smells. Is this the crater? Exclamation mark. Gaga, gaga. Zyrozingian shouted excitedly, landing from Lin Ke's shoulder, and then spread his wings to absorb the fire element. Lin Ke also stood up from the ground in an instant, holding up the air pressure shield to isolate some of the hot and dry air. Fortunately, after becoming a professional, especially after becoming a knight, His physical fitness has become inhuman. Otherwise, if it were an ordinary person, he would not be able to breathe here. Where is this? Lin Ke still held the amber in his hand, and the place where he stood was a large dark rock platform with an extremely huge cave behind him. Lin Ke looked around. In front of him was a large magma pool, surrounded by red-hot walls, and behind him was a cave. He could only use lighting magic to explore the cave behind him. Let's go, Zyrozingan. Lin Ke called out, bent down, and put Zyrozingan back on his shoulder. Zyrozingan felt that he had not finished yet, but the fire element was still pouring into his body. Tap, 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 gulp. Lin Ke's footsteps mixed with the sound of magma echoed in the cave. His mouth and nose were filled with the smell of sulfur, which was very strong and pungent. Lin Ke guessed that this might be the habitat of a fire dragon or a red dragon, and this cave was where the giant dragon passed. However, he walked for a long time, but could not see the end. Instead, his feet were getting hotter and hotter. Gradually, a red light appeared in front of him. Lin Ke slowed down his pace, bent down, took out the wand of annihilation from the space ring, and then slowly walked forward tentatively. In front of him was a wider space. If the magma just now was a pool, then the magma now was a large lake that stretched as far as the eye could see. Endless magma was bubbling here, steaming up all the water vapor here, and the unknown rocks around were burned red. Lin Ke had just walked out of the cave, and before he had time to carefully observe the scene here, his body suddenly became sweaty, and the 3 blood vessels in his mind were shaking wildly. His instinct was desperately warning him, and his heart was about to jump out. Zyrozingan fell to the ground with a thump without a sound. Horror. Danger. Horror. Lin Ke stiffened his body, and slowly turned his head to the right. An eye larger than his body was staring straight at him, and his figure was reflected in the pale yellow vertical pupil, clearly visible. Dragon. Dragon. A huge adult dragon. Lin Ke's instinct screamed, and he almost subconsciously raised the wand of annihilation in his hand, wanting to trigger the legendary attack in it. But the next moment, Lin Ke found something wrong. The dragon's eyes were lifeless. The eyes were dull. Lin Ke put down the arm that was holding up the scepter, suppressed the trembling feeling of terror, and looked at the behemoth in front of him. This dragon fell into the magma and died with its eyes open. This magma cave is very large, and there is a place similar to a crater above. You can't see the end at a glance. It should be the place where this dead dragon enters and exits. After all, although the cave that Lin Ke walked into is large, it can't accommodate the head of this dragon. The scales on the dragon's body are tightly attached to the skin. The eyes alone are larger than Lin Ke's body, and the size of those scales is about the same. From the stone platform, you can only see the head of this dragon, and behind the slender neck, you can vaguely see the huge outline hidden by the cave. It seems, behind the cave that Lin Ke walked out of, there is a huge hidden space, but it can't be seen by the naked eye. But no matter why this dragon's head is outside and its body is in a certain space, Lin Ke is reached just by the body of this dragon. The dragon scales can be used to make solid armor by casters, and the dragon blood can be the raw materials that pharmacists dream of. There are also dragon tendons, dragon eyes, dragon bones, dragon stems. Although this dragon has been dead for an unknown period of time, with the dragon's might that can make Lin Ke tremble, the dragon's flesh is still useful. Zyrozingan, it's dead. Don't be afraid. Lin Ke went forward and tried to pick up Zyrozingan. However, Zyrozingan's whole body suddenly burned on its own, and a steady stream of fire element poured in. Then, it opened its eyes by itself. Haha. Zyrozingan looked at Lin Ke with a silly face. He didn't know what had just happened, but the flames on his body were still not extinguished. But Lin Ke had a feeling that the flames would not hurt him. It's okay. It seems that our Zyrozingan is the most powerful. Lin Ke smiled and picked up Zyrozingan. The flames on Zyrozingan's body seemed to be nothingness and had no effect on him at all. Haha. Zyrozingan looked at the huge dragon head in front of him with curiosity, and then turned his head without interest, and began to comb his feathers, and absorb fire element. It seems that the dragon's might has no effect on Zyrozingan. Instead, it stimulated the hidden super bloodline in its body. You know, when Zyrozingan was hatched, Aofu was almost sucked dry. Even before it was born, it was locked by the law chain. It was very powerful. But Lin Ke was just an ordinary human, and he couldn't do anything about this dragon's might. He could only endure the pressure and walked forward, then took out an iron sword from the space ring, and poked it at the dragon's scales. Squeak as expected, the finely cast iron sword was instantly melted into iron water, and ripped down into the magma. The dragon's body was too hot. And it seemed that, because of Lin Ke's test with the iron sword this time, the dragon's body had some strange changes. Mysterious secret characters on the dragon's scales lit up, and the rich fire element in the magma were continuously absorbed by the dragon's corpse, forming a terrifying magic vortex. Lin Ke couldn't help but add 2 more air pressure shields to resist the violent fire element. At the same time, his body slowly retreated, and he held the wand of annihilation tightly again to prevent any unexpected situation. However, unexpected situations are like this. When you most hope that it will not happen, it will still come as promised and pierce you. Roar. I am the magma dragon Magnus Knock Black Zakuda. A huge dragon roar resounded throughout the magma lake, followed by a long series of real name announcements. How is it possible? Lin Ke's face sank, and his heart sank with it. His body also turned into a crow form in an instant. Endless fire element gathered towards the top of the dragon's head, dazzling and blazing. In a hurry, Lin Ke directly used the gecko bracelet to wrap his whole body, and turned into a man with a deep face. Hey, Magnus, where did the little dragon come from? Lin Ke's voice was hoarse, and the powerful legendary aura from the Wand of Annihilation was simulated by the gecko bracelet and then emitted. Gaga gab. Zyrozingan's body was also wrapped and transformed into a colorful crow, and its bloodline power also gushed out. The legendary crow made its debut. Chapter 153, Tricking a Dragon. Roar. The secret patterns on the body of the magma dragon Magnus seemed to have absorbed all the energy. The dragon scales on the magma dragon's body dimmed, and the energy inside had obviously been drained. Because of the absorption of fire element, even the scorching heat next to the magma lake has weakened a little. It seems not to be resurrection. It seems to be a return to the soul. Lin Ke breathed a sigh of relief. He couldn't sense what the flaming bull-like thing above his head was, and he felt that he had to use his legendary identity to bully others. Who are you? Tiny bug. You. A small western dragon-shaped phantom broke out of the shell of the bull, and golden magma flowed in the gaps between the dragon scales. However, before the irritable dragon soul could speak, he felt the pressure of the legend, so his body stopped abruptly, and stopped at the half position of his dragon head. Little female dragon, what are you going to do? The human legend in front of him, with a deep momentum and a hoarse voice, spoke softly, with a tone full of teasing. It was Lin Ke. He has passed the palace guard. That's right, Lin Ke found that this is a female dragon. The dragon soul of this female dragon looked at the imposing Lin Ke in front of her, and saw the crow with flames and colorful feathers on Lin Ke's shoulder. So she landed with her small body, crawled on the ground, and lowered her proud head to Lin Ke. Powerful human legend. I'm the daughter of the legendary dragon Cert. I was surrounded and killed by the void star beasts. Fortunately, my dragon soul survived. I hope the legend can help me. Oh. Cert's little dragon has a daughter? Lin Ke chuckled, walked forward with the annihilation staff in his hand, and looked down at Magnus from a high position. Well, good bloodline. Magnus felt the pressure that was stronger than his father, and the dragon soul crawled and dared not move. Little Lucky, do you want to eat it? Lin Ke turned his head and asked the little Lucky next to him. The dragon soul of the magma dragon Magnus was frightened and unstable. Damn. What a powerful legend. What a cruel act. I'm just a little female dragon. Why do you want to eat me? Magnus was furious in his heart, but he looked pitiful and said, Dear descendant of the phoenix, please don't eat me. I'm not delicious. Haha. Zyrozingan shook his head and continued to comb his feathers. Lin Ke heard something incredible. Descendant of the phoenix. Damn. It seems that Zyrozingan really has the blood of the phoenix. It seems that the phoenix he called was not wrong. Well, if you can't eat it, my followers should like a string of rings with dragon souls sealed in them, right? Well, I remember that little Andrew likes rings very much. Lin Ke looked at the space ring in his hand, whispered softly, and then used the wand of annihilation to pull Magnus' chin, as if he was looking at a piece of goods. At the same time, he screamed wildly in his heart, and was already very scared. Lin Ke is playing with fire. What if Magnus is not convinced, or is too proud? He might have the intention of fighting to the death. At that time, Lin Ke's small body could not bear it, and he could only use up one legendary attack opportunity. But after weighing the pros and cons, Lin Ke still wanted to take a risk, and the brave ones would die of starvation. Fight. Little did he know that the magma dragon was screaming in his heart, and screamed louder than Lin Ke. Too scary. Too evil. How many thousands of years have I been sleeping? Why are humans so scary now? Exclamation mark. Andrew is so powerful, but he is just a little guy in this mouth. Exclamation mark. Sun God, it's too scary. I'm a star level dragon. I could have forcibly enslaved the first creature that broke in to be my slave, and then escaped. Who knew that the first person who touched her body was actually a powerful legend? I also met Mr. Woomian, a friend of the sage Andrew, from a distance once. Speaking of it, we are comrades. Yes, comrades. Magnus hurriedly tried to make connections at this time, and quickly scanned his memory in his heart, but he couldn't remember the person in front of him at all. He could only guess that this person might be very ancient and powerful. And the 5-colored dragon princess, I know her too. I know her, but she doesn't know me. She started to talk nonsense. Anyway, when she was alive, the 5-colored dragon princess of their Holy Life Alliance and the Sleepless Prince had a very good relationship. She must live. The magma dragon screamed in his heart. His face became more humble, and his head was almost buried in the ground. No, I think your followers are unwilling to wear a weak dragon necklace like mine. At this point, Magnus' eyes turned, and he said again, but, I'm willing to be your follower. No, to be your slave, and take you to find the plane of the dragon clan, where there are many legendary dragons. I think you will be satisfied. As he said, Magnus lowered his head humbly, not daring to look at Lin Ke, his body trembling slightly. The long lost dragon clan plane? Interesting. Lin Ke said a word, and then he began to fall into deep thought on the surface, but he remembered the time in his heart, before his palace guard bracelet absorbed all his energy. Moreover, he had obtained a lot of information from Magnus, so he might have to sort it out carefully later. Magnus was even more afraid at this time, fearing that Lin Ke would not agree and take her to make a necklace. Lin Ke kept time and spoke slowly when there was still a while left. Raising a group of dragons is not bad. Yeah. Magnus nodded wildly, without any sense of shame for being a guide. She just wanted to survive. How about this? I will give you to my disciple's disciple. He has a good talent. Help him well. As she said, Lin Ke waved her hand, and a slave contract flew out of the space ring. This is not a divine power contract, but a law contract made by a legendary strongman. When the law still exists, this kind of contract cannot be violated at all. Lin Ke only has one of this contract, which was exchanged between Lin Ke and him, and the price was to write a song for her. If you want to bind such a powerful star level, you can only use the law contract. Yes, my master. Magnus didn't say much, but was filled with joy in her heart. She is afraid of death. Otherwise, when the black dragon and the silver dragon were engraving attack and defense secrets on their dragon bodies, she would not have engraved this resurrection secret on the dragon body. However, this powerful legendary disciple is probably at least a legend, right? A legendary disciple has good talent, and it is not bad to be under the command of such a person. The magma dragon was even a little happy in her heart, so she would have a big fight in the future. She is a particularly powerful legend, and her disciples are also legends. It is amazing to think that a group of legends are a force. So she happily left her soul mark on the slave contract. You must know that when she was born, the dragon race had already declined to the extreme, and many creatures would hunt the dragon race because of the value of the dragon body. So Magnus didn't have that kind of arrogance after she was born. On the contrary, because her father was also someone else's mount, she didn't object to this kind of thing at all. After signing the law contract, Lin Ke breathed a sigh of relief. He picked up the law contract and threw the amber he had held to Magnus. Go in. This should be your dragon crystal, right? Magnus' face changed when he saw the dragon crystal, and his expression became sad. Master, this is my child's dragon crystal. Chapter 154 Are the secrets of the magma dragon plane. Your child? Lin Ke asked curiously. Yes, it's the child of me and the boar chieftain, a cute little pig dragon. It seems that he has also encountered misfortune. Magnus the lava dragon was a little sad and then rushed into the amber without waiting for Lin Ke to say anything. King of the boar. Lin Ke held the amber in his hand and felt that this mother dragon had a strong taste. When he looked at the dragon head in front of him, he felt a little pity. All the energy of this dragon corpse has been sucked dry, and the bones, scales, and flesh have all become nutrients for Magnus's resurrection. At this time, the amber was put into Lin Ke's space ring, and it changed for a while, and it turned back to Lin Ke's appearance, and the palace guard bracelet also returned to its original state. Haha. Xiaoxingan also noticed the change, but it did not affect its continued absorption of fire element, so it continued to absorb. Lin Ke looked at Xiaoxingan, who was close to a first level professional on his shoulder, and only felt that he was generous. Maybe in Xiaoxingan's eyes, there is really nothing to be afraid of about dragons in terms of blood. Just like people may be afraid of palm-sized spiders, but not of huge buffaloes. In Xiaoxingan's eyes, the dragon head just now is just like a larger buffalo. However, Lin Ke was looking at Xiaoxingan, who was absorbing the fire element at this time, and suddenly froze for a moment, then slapped his head fiercely. Oh my god, I forgot to ask how to get back. Damn. If I ask how to get out now, wouldn't it affect the glorious image of Lord Crow? Thinking of the way he got in before, Lin Ke returned the same way. Ms. Black Mountain has the blood of wild boars. The small space was given to her by the wild boar chief, and the magma dragon also gave birth to a child with other wild boar chiefs. Of course, this child is not Ms. Black Mountain. Ms. Black Mountain's mother is a human, and this mother dragon has been dead for many years. The 5-color dragon princess has now become one of His Majesty Wu Mian's wives, a powerful 5-color dragon mother. The most urgent thing is to think of a place where the two spaces are connected, that is, where he came from, and then find a way to go back. So he put away the annihilation staff and walked back with an illumination spell. Arriving at the pig dragon's room, Lin Ke began to think about how to get back to the other side. So he took out the so-called dragon crystal of the pig dragon again. If it hadn't been awakened, this Magnus shouldn't have been able to detect the outside. Lin Ke had just tried to probe his power in, but before he went deep, he felt movement around him. Crack, crack, crack. A dull sound rang around Lin Ke. What happened again? Lin Ke took out the wand of annihilation again, put away the amber, and looked around vigilantly. This sound came from the surroundings. Gulp. Crack, crack. The magma was emitting huge amounts of hot steam, and the gurgling sound it made, combined with the strange sound of eggshells breaking, surrounded Lin Ke. These two sounds made this place fall into a strange silence in the noise. Finally, the eggshell sound stopped abruptly, and Lin Ke's eyes were extremely vigilant. Boom. Then there was a dull and loud sound, and a head emitting thunder appeared from mid-air. The eyes with purple lightning looked around, and when he saw Lin Ke, he said, "Little Lin Ke, you are here." Aofu. Aofu in the violent thunder state. Aofu's head with white hair and beard, and lightning retracted again, and then stabbed into the thunder staff with the top, turned into a thunderball, opening a hole. Then the thunder staff shone brightly, and the hole became bigger and bigger after a random stir up and down. Then when the hole was big enough, Aofu, with his hair and beard all stretched out, came out of the hole in his angry form. After coming through, the thunder disappeared, and the crack in time and space gradually closed. Teacher, why are you here? This feeling, you have broken through the legend? Lin Ke was surprised at first, and then surprised. He sensed that Aofu's momentum was more than one level higher than before. If it was a safe voltage of 36 volts before, it is now a lightning that penetrates the sky and the earth. Legend. Lin Ke felt a sense of happiness. Although he had expected it before, he was still very happy that Aofu really got promoted. Yes, I went back to the research laboratory and found that you were not there, so I followed your scent to find you. Aofu recovered from the state of being covered in lightning. He first looked at Lin Ke and was relieved to make sure that Lin Ke was okay. Then he scolded, "Don't run around in the future. It's very dangerous." "Got it, teacher." Lin Ke looked at the air where Aofu had just come from and asked curiously, "Teacher, can you tear the space directly from here to go back?" "Tear the space? You can say that, but it's more like this small space is attached to your research laboratory, so I sensed it." At this point, Lin Ke began to look at the surrounding environment, feeling the thick fire element in the cave behind Lin Ke, and said in surprise, "This small plane has such abundant fire element. It looks like the habitat of the lava tortoises I have seen before." "Lava tortoises?" Lin Ke only sighed. That Aofu had a wide range of knowledge and said, "This is not from a lava tortoise, this is from a giant dragon." As soon as the words came out, Aofu's expression was shocked. "Giant dragon?" Giant dragons are very rare monsters, especially after more and more professionals. The former member of the Holy Life Alliance almost disappeared in the long river of history. Fierce, greedy, domineering, full of treasures, able to manipulate everything. The various characteristics of the giant dragon clearly show that, if this race is not strong, it will soon be extinct, or kept in captivity. However, the powerful giant dragons will obviously be eliminated after encountering thousands of races that have a short growth period, outstanding wisdom, obvious culture, or stronger reproduction. The existing giant dragons in Nasan are all cherished pets of each family, just like the black and white cute goods in the previous life. They are raised and bred for fear of extinction. There are no records of more giant dragons. Maybe the Holy Life Alliance has records, but Gila has long regarded them as legends. Of course, if the 5-colored dragon mother and the princes and princesses are counted, there are still some left. Of course, no one would compare the 5-colored dragon mother with a pet, just like those people who clamored for decomposition and freedom in Lin Ke's previous life would not think that they were the same kind as the cannibals. But no matter what, the dragon is too precious. There is a dragon living here? But this cave entrance is only big enough for a baby dragon, right? Is it the space for a baby dragon? But it's not enough. Maybe it's more like the tunnel of a flaming male pig. Aofu was a little confused and looked at the cave passage behind Lin Ke. Or, it really has something to do with pigs. Lin Ke complained in his heart, and then pointed behind him. "Teacher, because I saw a dragon." So, the two walked over together, and Aofu also saw the weathered and dried dragon corpse, and felt sorry for it frequently. This kind of dragon corpse, if well preserved, can be exchanged with some people, whether it is in exchange for huge wealth or other dragon corpses such as thunder dragons. Looking at the weathered and dried dragon corpse, Aofu suddenly stopped and tilted his head to look at the place behind the dragon corpse's head. Wait, there seems to be another space here. Off-size emitted a purple electric light that struck like a bolt of lightning. Boom. Chapter 155 Solving the Wealth Crisis. Another space? Lin Ke's originally calm heart was filled with anticipation. Aofu looked at the position behind the dragon's head. The top of the thunder staff gathered the thunder element again and turned into a thunder hammer. Aofu floated above the dragon's head, holding the end of the staff high with both hands, and then smashed it into the air in the air. Boom. A muffled sound, somewhat like the muffled thunder that sounded when the clouds were thick in spring. Then Lin Ke saw that the place hit by Aofu's staff was broken into pieces like glass, but the space-time hull showed signs of closing instantly. Aofu immediately grabbed it with both hands, and the power superposition nodes lit up one by one on his arms, and then he pulled it hard to both sides. The crack as big as the head was enlarged, and Aofu stretched out the thunder staff to stir it, and the space crack could pass a person. Aofu waved his hand, and a servant of truth appeared. Lin Ke stepped on it with ease, and passed through the space crack together with Aofu. As soon as he came over, Lin Ke was stunned by the glittering jewels. He saw that this football field-sized space was piled with all kinds of shiny things from top to bottom. Dragons like shiny things. Lin Ke remembered this world-famous rumor. It seems that the dragons of Nasan are no different. The key is that many things in front of him have very strong magic fluctuations. This is a treasure left by the dragon. Aofu's eyes were full of joy. If this dragon is old enough, there may be many unexpected things. Some precious materials are extinct because they are too old. but those materials are likely to appear in the collections of some ancients. Now, most of what is here are some shiny ores, glowing biological body parts, etc. And what Lin Ke saw at this time was not only magic materials, but also a large number of gold coins. Gold coins. A lot of gold coins. Even silver coins are only a small amount, and there is no copper coin. So many gold coins. A rough look is more than 1 million. Dragons are so rich. Lin Ke felt that his view of dragons had changed. Unfortunately, the storage space in his and AOF's space rings is not big enough to hold the things here. After discussing it, Lin Ke decided to move all the gold coins back first and leave the magic materials here. After all, this place can be considered hidden, and it can just be used as one of his Azan's treasure houses. What? You have solved it? The eldest lady was shocked when she heard it, then frowned and looked at Lin Ke. Little Lin Ke, we don't need to use Lord AOF's things. If it really doesn't work, Auntie has a solution. It's okay, Auntie. Lin Ke didn't say anything about the treasure left by the dragon. The fewer people who know this secret, the better. It's the income I got after taking over Parrot City, including Pooh. Including what the previous city lord left behind. Lin Ke has forgotten the name of Baron Sandal so far. He doesn't want to remember the names of many people, but not his soldiers. He remembers every name. Okay. The eldest lady looked at Lin Ke with a complicated expression. After hesitating for a long time, she said, by the way, little Lin Ke, I may have to go back to the Brando family in a while. Lin Ke didn't think much about it. It was just a trip back to her parents' home, which was normal. Okay, Auntie, when exactly? Well, I'll be back this month. And Tower thought about it, then pinched Lin Ke's face. What does little Lin Ke want? I still have about 300,000 in the Brando family. I can exchange it for something of equivalent value and bring it back. More than 300,000 in property? Lin Ke felt something was wrong when she heard this. More than 300,000. That's enough to pay off the debt owed by Geros. Why didn't Antawa take it out and pay it back? Unless this 300,000 is not Antawa's own money. Lin Ke's face became serious. Auntie, the people in the Temple of Wealth are likely to be scammers. Kanako, the high priest of the Temple of Wealth, didn't even let him, a child, go, just like a capitalist. The loan was fun for a while, and the whole family was laid off. Under the situation of compound interest, even a country may be dragged down, let alone a mere Azan. After returning from the Temple of Wealth, Chanako never came to the front line again. The so-called anger of the gods was just to provide some supplies to the front line. This made Lin Ke forget the existence of Chanako. However, Antawa suddenly said that she had a huge sum of money, and it was a huge sum that was enough to make the Earl's family suffer. Lin Ke didn't believe it. It's not borrowed from the Temple of Wealth, it's your dowry. Antova waved her hand nonchalantly and chuckled. Little Lin Ke, who do you think I am? Antova stood up from the chair, walked to the balcony, and said softly, your mother is the sweetest fiery red wind in Azan, and I'm the most dazzling pearl in the territory of Brando. As she spoke, a hint of pride flashed across Antova's face. There was once a marquis's son who wanted to pursue me, but I still chose that stupid big guy Geros. But no matter what, it's just 300,000. Antova turned around, squatted down, and rubbed Lin Ke's head. Little Lin Ke, are you studying the power of thunder like Lord Orth? I remember that there is a feather of a level 13 mountain thunderbird in my father's treasure house. I will bring it back to you when the time comes. Lin Ke felt Antova's care, and his heart warmed. That's not good, Auntie. Although he felt something was wrong, what Antawa said made sense, and the mountain thunderbirds were quite rare, and Orth might also need it. Nothing, my little Lin Ke will definitely be a legend in the future. Antawa smiled and stood up, but before she could fully stand up, she was pulled back by Lin Ke. Auntie, I'll go with you to get it then. Lin Ke held Antawa. Something must be wrong when things are abnormal. Some corrupt nobles are the most enthusiastic about politics, and Lin Ke has learned that the Brando family is an extremely corrupt noble family. According to the book, the Brando family inherited from the Marquis, and after many generations, they directly became earls, and they may become viscounts in a few years. 3 consecutive generations of Brando earls have changed from the former pioneering and enterprising to politicians who play tricks and conspiracies. Let's go together. And Tower was silent, turned around and looked at Lin Ke's firm eyes, and nodded, okay, and call my teacher to go together. Lin Ke added, and Tower was speechless. So Lin Ke continued to talk about other things, saying, I have about 1 million gold coins here, which can do a lot of things. Auntie, leave the castle affairs to my mother and John. You and Uncle Billy come with me to do the work. As the most shining pearl of the Brando family, Antova is not of ours like his mother Furlong. Antova knows a lot of things. Now Lin Ke trusts Antova, so he can let Antova work together. What help? The goods accumulated by the Azanan paper mill are enough. In addition, things like glass should have been introduced a long time ago, right? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Ancestor Azan is coming. At night, Lin Ke was still writing furiously at the table, perfecting the theory of lords. When he was almost done, Lin Ke pondered for a moment, and hurried to the dungeon. Aofu, who was meditating on the roof, had a hint of confusion in his eyes, but he didn't think much about it when he thought of Lin Ke's degree of independence. He had just been promoted to legend, and he needed to consolidate his knowledge, familiarize himself with his strength, and build some new skills. However, not long after, Aofu's eyes suddenly opened, and his body turned into a thunderbolt, and disappeared on the spot. He appeared in front of the dungeon, looking at the dark entrance with a serious face. Tap, tap, tap. A familiar but unfamiliar breath swept out of the passage. Legend. A powerful legend. Aofu's body was covered by thunderbolt in an instant, and the breath of legend was also released. Ordinary people in Azan Castle didn't feel it, but the professionals felt it one after another. Whether they were sleeping or meditating, they woke up one by one. What happened? Such a strong aura. What's going on? Legend. This is a legend. Stupid, this is the aura of Lord Orth. Why did Lord Orth suddenly, not good? Protect Master Lin Ke. One by one, the professionals woke up and went downstairs at a very fast speed and began to use their professional power while going downstairs. Unexpectedly, at this time, Orth's momentum suddenly broke like a punctured ball, followed by an even more powerful force. Orth's power has a tingling feeling, and this new legendary power is like the sea, pressing down directly. All Azan's professionals instantly fell into an ice cave. This is a legend that is far more powerful than Lord Orth. The power from the deep sea. This ancient lord, what is the purpose of your visit here? Where is my disciple? In front of the dungeon, Orth held the thunderstaff tightly, and his heart was extremely nervous. If the person who came was an enemy and killed Lin Ke, Orth would not mind fighting to the death. The only 3 people he recognized in this world were Geros, Emperor Wumian, and Fueling. And Lin Ke was far superior to them. If Lin Ke died, Thinking of this, Aofu's breath fluctuated, and his hair and beard stood up. However, at this moment, the short man in front of Aofu waved his hand, and an amber flew out, accompanied by the voice of the man in front of him. I'm Swain Azan. The deep ocean currents are my incarnation. All things are born because of me. My descendant summoned me from the depths of his blood. At this point, the man in front of Aofu chuckled, indicating that he had no ill intentions, and then said, there is a little dragon in that dragon crystal. Give it to my descendant. As he said this, Swain Azan gently leaned on the scepter and walked towards the dungeon. Halfway through, he suddenly turned back and said, by the way, young legend, if you need it, remember to let the descendant call me. He is Azan's hope and future. With the sound of the scepter hitting the ground, Swain also slowly disappeared in the teleportation array. As the figure disappeared, the ocean-like momentum also disappeared. The followers breathed a sigh of relief and were able to move freely. Before they could ask anything, Orth turned into a thunderbolt and disappeared from everyone's sight, and also went to the small space. Only the people were left looking at each other in bewilderment. However, at this moment, a person walked down. Furlong. She was wearing a white veil, and there were a few red patterns in her light clothes. What happened just now? Furlong asked softly. Madam, just now Azen's ancestor appeared. Butler Billy stepped forward, his face mixed with excitement and confusion. That was the purest torrent. That terrifying torrent is countless times stronger than the master. But I don't seem to have heard of the name Swain. Billy became more and more excited as he spoke, and finally he even ran upstairs presumptuously, ready to go to the study, to check the classics and Azen's information, to see who the ancestor was. The others also fell into extreme ecstasy after a brief daze. It's not enough that Lord Orf has become a legend. Now Azen seems to have an even more powerful and terrifying ancestor. This is simply too unbelievable. No, this is simply too joyful. But Lin Ke's followers are not fools. Hey, little bunny, do you think that ancestor is real or fake? Lalita poked Nyx's head with her elbow. Why haven't we heard of it before? I don't know. I only care about Mr. Lin Ke's safety. Nyx's dark eyes were full of worry. Don't worry, if it is really our Azen's ancestor, Master Lin Ke will be fine. If not, at worst, we can charge that legend. Hey, think about charging that giant snake before. It's really exciting. Lalita laughed twice as she spoke, as if she recalled the scene of charging the legendary giant snake before. Lalita was laughing foolishly, which actually caused other followers such as Rami to laugh foolishly. Yeah, it's so cool. A man laughed loudly, his voice was hearty. It's very refreshing. Well, I mean it's really joyful. Rami maintained the reserve of a poet, but the corners of his mouth were almost grinning to his ears. Not long after, a flash of lightning passed by. AOF was not used to crowded places, so he went to the roof. Then, the pale-faced Lin Ke walked out of the dungeon and smiled. Everyone go back and rest. Seeing that Lin Ke was fine, but very weak, everyone dispersed one by one, leaving only John to support Lin Ke. Mother, why are you here? Lin Ke saw Feudal and stepped forward to indicate that he was fine. Lin Ke, what's the matter with that elder? Is he really the ancestor of Azen? After Feudal confirmed that Lin Ke was just a little tired, she began to ask, do you need to pay anything to summon him? There is such a plot in the novels she has read. There are gains and losses, and only by paying can there be results. Such a powerful legend, even more powerful than Lord AOF. Who knows what it will cost to summon such a being? No, mother. Lin Ke seemed to think about it for a moment, and then explained in a certain voice. It seems that the ancestors were rushing back to the family 6 years ago, because of my birth. That's why I often feel that the bloodline gives me guidance. Sometimes Lin Ke has no excuses, so he will say that it is because the bloodline tells him what to do, such as when he wanted to enlighten the bloodline in advance. Just give guidance? That's great. Feudal breathed a sigh of relief, glad that he didn't make any bad choices before. Chapter 157 The Birth of a New Profession. Mother, go and have a rest. Lin Ke comforted Feudal, then went to the rooftop to meet Aofu. So that's how it is. Aofu agreed with Lin Ke's statement. After all, blood is so mysterious. The power of that adult is indeed similar to your father's. Your father. Speaking of Lin Ke's father, Aofu sighed. His power is very weak, but he has a kind of, well, how should I put it? It should be spirit. Aofu looked at Lin Ke's eyes and smiled. Your eyes are very similar to your father's, bright and energetic, but you look as delicate as that little girl Feudal. Lin Ke rarely heard comments about his appearance, because he was generally praised and remembered for his inner qualities, rather than his outer qualities. So, what kind of spirit does Garros have? Lin Ke felt that he couldn't say the word father out of his mouth. He and Garros had no feelings, just like the view accepted by everyone in his previous life, that the grace of raising is greater than the grace of giving birth. It was Feudal and Antawa who had brought him up, and he had misunderstood Antawa since he was a child. So he felt from a young age that Garros was not competent enough because he put his only son in danger. But as a person who had experienced it, he knew Garros' helplessness. He owed the Deep Blue family 280,000 gold coins and had to go out to the secondary plane to work hard. This is equivalent to, what should I do if I don't go out to work, if I owe hundreds of thousands of loans? Give the child a childhood? Give the child good memories? Give the child a harmonious family? Then the whole family will starve to death. So when Lin Ke learned about Garros' debt from Mantower, he had already let it go a lot and expressed his understanding of Garros. Your father Garros. As long as you look into his eyes, you will feel endless courage. It is very unforgettable. Aofu seemed to recall his experience with Garros, and couldn't help but touch Lin Ke's head. When you launched a charge against the legend before, I thought I saw Garros. Lin Ke may feel that Aofu and Garros did have a story. Okay, Zyro Lin Ke, you go and have a rest first. Your ancestors are rushing here, based on your bloodline, which is very exhausting. Speaking of Lin Ke's ancestors, Afu sighed, with your ancestors, our Azin will be safer. AOF said that Azin and used the word we, probably learned it from Lolita. But this made Lin Ke feel warm in his heart, and also a little guilty. After all, AOF knew these things before, but because it was an important secret, AOF sealed these memories. But in order to ensure safety, it had to be like this. Then I'll leave first, teacher. Lin Ke took his leave, and prepared to go back to rest. But when he reached the door, he saw a sneaky figure. The figure was hiding on his balcony, and there were fluctuations from strange professionals. A mere first level professional dared to steal things. Lin Ke sneered in his heart, and wondered if Azanan had neglected the issue of security management, because he paid too much attention to the war. Lin Ke held up the air pressure shield, and holding an emerging air pressure blade, he slowly walked forward. The figure huddled in a corner of the balcony, seemed to feel Lin Ke's approach, and slightly exposed his head. Lin Ke leaped over in an instant, holding the air pressure blade in both hands, stabbing from top to bottom, and at the same time pressing the man with the air pressure shield. The figure screamed when he saw this. Oh no. The gold coin is above. Master Lin Ke, what are you doing? Damn it. Lin Ke hastily created a shield in the air, and the air pressure blade and the air pressure shield collided and cancelled each other out. Lin Ke fell to the side, and looked at the person next to him, shocked and angry. Grandma Zisei, what are you doing? The figure turned out to be Grandma Zisei. I saw Grandma Zisei hunched over her hunchback, constantly using her right hand to relieve the air in her chest. It was obvious that the action just now scared her. However, after Lin Ke asked the question, Grandma Zisei seemed to remember the purpose of her visit, so she panicked and made a hush gesture to Lin Ke. Master Lin Ke, keep your voice down. I came here in secret. Lin Ke, then what were you screaming about just now? You know, Granny Zisei's scream was really loud just now. People who didn't know would think something was wrong with Lin Ke. Granny Zisei, what are you doing here? I remember you didn't seem to like coming out. Lin Ke couldn't help but pull Granny Zisei to sit down, and then asked. Granny Zisei has no worries, and she loves chemistry, especially after Lin Ke pointed in a direction and provided materials worth hundreds of gold coins every month. Granny Zisei said that she didn't want to leave the Thunder Force plane of off in her life. She wanted to play with powders, ores and other things there until she died. How come she came out after only a few months in, and what secrets are you talking about? No, it's like this, Lord Lin Ke. Granny Zisei came to Lin Ke's side nervously. Although she was hunchbacked, Lin Ke was still a child, and she could just reach Lin Ke's ears. Granny Zisei first looked around the empty room vigilantly, and then whispered, Lord Lin Ke, I might be your grandmother. Damn, is there such a way to take advantage? Lin Ke was speechless. What are you talking about? Granny Zisei, I told you that some powders cannot be tasted randomly. It will affect the brain and even cause brain disability. Granny Zisei glared. How can you talk to your grandmother? No, you. Lin Ke held his forehead, not knowing whether to laugh or cry, and was speechless. Granny Zisei saw Lin Ke's look and got a little anxious, so she hurriedly said, Lord Lin Ke, grandson, do you remember that Swain just now? He was summoned by me. Who is he scolding as a grandson? It's getting more and more outrageous. Lin Ke had to patiently ask, how do you know he was summoned by you? Why didn't he feel Granny Zisei's call when he became Swain? It's very simple, because wasn't I exploring the charm of the chemistry of the Shilaozi according to the request of my grandson? Then today, there was a piece of gold mine on the big stone of the soul space of my Shilaozi. I went to touch it, and guess what? Granny Zisei showed excitement, and the wrinkles on her face blossomed like a big chrysanthemum. Lin Ke gradually reacted, and then he remembered that Granny Zase had never been employed before. Now, Granny Zase has directly become a first level professional. Seeing the surprise in Lin Ke's eyes, Granny Zase was even more proud. Got it. Because I became a professional, our Azin's ancestor came back to find us. So confident. Lin Ke had to tell Granny Zase the reason for the arrival of the ancestor Swain again, and Granny Zase reluctantly believed it. But Lin Ke was still very happy. After all, although Granny Zase did not become the chemist he imagined, she also had a new career. That is, Chapter 158 Strengthen and build Azan Castle. Good guy. Bomb maker? Could Granny Zase have gone astray? Question mark. Lin Ke sent Granny Zase, who had become a bomb maker, back to the plane of thunder power. Thinking of Granny Zase's love of money, he relaxed again. It shouldn't be. Then he thought of what he did today. It was really tiring to play the role of an ancestor of Azan, and then Granny Zase made such a scene, which really made him tired. However, this also made Lin Ke think of two problems. The original task was a 5-month task, requiring Lin Ke to create enough professions to face the return of the real king of Azan. For each new profession created, there will be a follower who will never betray, and whose bloodline talent is above very good. Never betray. This is a quality that Lin Ke values very much. In his previous life, he had seen many betrayals between people, which made him value this thing very much. The second is the talent problem. At the beginning, he did not pay much attention to the talent of very good. After all, in his cognition, very good is just a talent at the bottom of the talent chain. But when he asked off to enlighten many people who joined the army, he found that it was difficult for ordinary people to have even medium talents, and most of them had inferior talents. Therefore, this task allowed Lin Ke to find the right direction, which was to create as many professions as possible. But later, Lin Ke also learned from Princess Lin Ke and Curry that creating professions was not that simple. There are many kinds of professions, such as combat, research, construction, service, entertainment. Just according to combat, there are long range, close combat, attack, defense, etc. There are also many types such as mages, shooters, warriors, tanks, etc. Researchers and other types can also be divided into many types. But with so many types, only a handful of people can reach the legendary level in the end, and many of them can't even reach level 10. So many times, the birth of a legend will be exciting. Because reaching the legendary level means that the mastery of a certain law has deepened, and maybe it can create a corresponding profession for this rule. Of course, sometimes the profession created by the legend is not strong, or it can't create a profession directly. That's another matter. So, facing the new profession and his followers, Lin Ke can't take it lightly. Since he chose to follow Lin Ke, he couldn't just come up with some professions without development potential. If he wanted to create something, he should create some really good professions. This would not be in vain for them to follow Lin Ke. The other problem was the defense of Azan Castle, and the other was the task problem. Azan Castle was simply built and reinforced at the beginning, without much investment. There was not much achievement in the building structure and design, security sentry, and defense and attack. It was just ordinary. Today, the embarrassing incident of Granny Zase made Lin Ke pay attention to the problems of Azan Castle itself. The Great Wall stood in the distance to block the monsters in the lava swamp, but there were also many malicious intentions from other places. The original Azan was just an insignificant country lord. But now, because of a series of events after the death of Lady Tide, Azan's reputation has spread. Although Lin Ke felt that with the legend of Orph in charge, ordinary villains would not dare to attack, but it was always necessary to prepare for a rainy day. Thinking about it, Lin Ke gradually fell asleep. The next day, Lin Ke found Aofu again. You want to learn how to draw magic circles in Gunaseng? I don't know much. Aofu pondered for a moment, then asked curiously, little Lin Ke, why? Lin Ke explained his idea. I want to reinforce the Azan Castle. Reinforce? Aofu nodded slightly. The castle is indeed a bit fragile. In his opinion, the current Azan Castle is simply a building block that can be broken with a flick of the finger. Of course, in Lin Ke's opinion, Azan Castle is also a building block. It's just that, because of Aofu's joining, the building blocks that originally collapsed with a breath have become magic building blocks with iron marrow mixed with mithril and gold essence as raw materials, and engraved with multiple secret codes. With Aofu here, let alone blowing a breath, even a force 10 gale can't blow down the Azan building block. However, what Lin Ke has to do is to turn the building blocks into a truly indestructible castle. But I don't have much achievement in secret codes, and the books are all in the materialist school. Aofu looked embarrassed. After all, parchment has always been very rare, which also caused the scarcity of books. The secret masters, on the front line. Aof was halfway through his speech when he remembered that Lin Ke had actually cut off contact with those people. The people on the front line are not our own people after all. Lin Ke also sighed and shook his head. Teacher, how can I really recruit talents? Except for Amy's group, most of the other people who came were ordinary people in the territory of Azan. Without outstanding blood, physique, or brain, most people can only be soldiers. What Lin Ke wants is someone like Rami, Lalita, and Nyx who can stand on their own. Recruit talents? Why recruit? Aof was a little confused. Don't you have many family members in Azan? Although Aof has made great achievements in research, he doesn't know much about these aspects. However, this opened up Lin Ke's mind all of a sudden. Family? Lin Ke's eyes lit up, and then he found the crux of the problem. The people of Nasan have always used family as a connector and a community of interests. Only those who are connected by blood can gain trust. Therefore, in addition to recruiting civilians and refugees, Lin Ke has never really recruited any nobles. It must be said that the reason why nobles are nobles is because they have something special, which is reflected in blood talent, blood inheritance and other aspects. Ordinary civilians can only become the lowest level professionals through some opportunities, such as the enlightenment opportunity given by Lin Ke before, and then work hard at the bottom step by step. If one day you can become a subordinate of a noble, or gain the friendship of a noble like Black Mountain before, then you may become a noble of the lowest level, a pioneer knight. Then start to make a fortune, and then have a lot of children. Select some slightly better ones from them to cultivate, feed them all kinds of good food, teach them some etiquette and culture, and so on for several generations. It is possible to stand out. However, most people, even if they encounter the enlightenment opportunity given by Lin Ke, will die in the process of being loyal to the Lord, and only a small number of them can really be seen and appreciated by the Lord. In fact, it is more difficult for the class of Nasan to stand out than in Lin Ke's previous life, and the class here is more solidified. Therefore, if Lin Ke wanted to cultivate talents, he could either select some loyal and available people from the Azan family and give them the opportunity to serve him. Or, perhaps some slaves captured from the secondary plane can meet your requirements? Or said what Lin Ke was thinking. Buy slaves. Chapter 159 Purchase of Slaves. Buy slaves. Lin Ke thought about it, and thought this method was feasible. The slaves bought would usually be given some cheap divine power contracts to sign a master-servant contract. At least loyalty could be guaranteed. Of course, Lin Ke would not give up the resources of Azan. You have to know that Azan is a family with a long history. Although it does not have top power, after all, the top one is Geros, the 12th level patriarch. But Azan has led many years of development, and has many middle level forces. Among them are direct nobles like Baron Puxin who have poor talent and are lazy, and some collateral relatives who are not high in title but quite talented. Azan is a very complicated family. Apart from the conservative nobles, Lin Ke wants to find the kind of Azan who is ambitious but lacks opportunities. There are people who are ambitious everywhere. Opportunities are few and far between. Of course, resources are also few and far between, such as feedback required for promotion, such as emerging professions suitable for a certain bloodline, etc. Lin Ke happens to have a lot of such similar resources. Lin Ke made these two decisions immediately, but he was still concerned about Aofu's condition, so he asked, "Teacher, what was the vision when you were promoted?" Aofu immediately described the vision, which was similar to what Lin Ke learned from others. They all called Aofu's vision electromagnetic vision, which came from the words Aofu said unconsciously when he was promoted. "I'm the king of electromagnetism." Electromagnetism. Lin Ke was thinking. The electromagnetic induction phenomenon was discovered by Aofu, which also brought him promotion. But the power of electricity and magnetism is definitely not just that. Lin Ke successfully turned Aofu from simple lightning to electricity and magnetism. The combination of the two will burst out with greater power. Teacher, that kind of magnetic force may also be an extremely powerful direction, which is worth studying. After thinking again and again, Lin Ke decided to guide Aofu a little. AOF had some ideas in that area, and after listening to Lin Ke's words, he felt that he should try it, so he said, maybe I can stabilize in just 1 or 2 years. Electromagnetism is really interesting. After becoming a legend, it is necessary to integrate the knowledge that was promoted before, because this is the time when you are closest to the law after reaching a new realm. In this process, there is a high probability of new insights and more feedback. After that, it is time to return to the state before the promotion. Lin Ke chatted with AOF for a while, and then returned to the bedroom, and sorted out the careers created in the past few months and the followers who will never betray that may be harvested. Singer, the corresponding one should be Sophie, never betray. Bomb maker, the corresponding one should be Granny Hisei. Worker, which has not yet appeared, should correspond to Watson. Dancer, host, magician, screenwriter, composer, actor, and the player of a certain instrument, etc. These professions should all be born in the Asen troupe, but the corresponding characteristics and suitable people for the job have not been selected yet. Accountant, I wanted to give Billy a try, but Billy was only a medium talent, and he couldn't even develop butler and knight well, let alone a new profession. Billy was a level 6 butler and a level 4 knight. At first, Lin Ke wanted to give it to John, but John also had a dual profession of butler and knight. It was fruitless, but who knew that Hishan would come? As a businessman, Hishan was most likely to change his profession or work part-time as an accountant. The next professions are engineer and architect. Engineer is different from Nassen's architect. Lin Ke didn't find any candidates for these two professions, so he could only wait and see. It's a pity that professions like author and painter already exist, otherwise Lin Ke could still try. After thinking it over, Lin Ke still felt dissatisfied. Never betray, a very good talent. The more followers like this, the better. So Lin Ke pondered on the table again, thinking about all kinds of professions in his previous life, and didn't stop until lunch. A good cook cannot cook without rice. In the afternoon, Lin Ke decided to look for inspiration elsewhere, so he called Butler Billy to ask about buying slaves and family members. In the bedroom, Master, are you going to recruit Asen and slaves? Are they subordinates or followers? Butler Billy stood aside politely. He knew that Lin Ke must not buy ordinary slaves. Lin Ke pondered for a while before saying, it's okay. Of course, it's best to have subordinates. Subordinates with contractual relationships. There shouldn't be too many followers. Well, if it's an enlightened slave, the price should be a bit expensive. Of course, we don't have to consider these issues now. Butler Billy originally thought that Asen was heavily in debt, but suddenly remembered that Lin Ke had solved the debt crisis, so he quickly changed his words. Yes, Lin Ke finally felt the feeling of being a local tyrant. Although we are not as rich as Princess Rika, we are still very rich. Rika. Speaking of Rika, Lin Ke suddenly fell into deep thought, and Butler Billy stood aside without saying anything. After a long while, Lin Ke sighed. Uncle Billy, where should we buy it? Parrot City? Butler Billy didn't even look at Lin Ke's face, but his voice became gentler. Master, there are also some in Parrot City, but the best way is to go to a larger city, where there will be more high quality slaves. Parrot City can only be regarded as the smallest border town. There are no larger ones in Asen. Almost all of them are small towns of this type. And there should be only one large city in the southernmost part of the Gila Kingdom, that is, the City of the Earth in the territory of the Earl of Grizzly, the territory of Mantis and Grizzly. Lin Ke couldn't help but feel a little distressed. To go to the territory of the Earl of Grizzly, you have to pass through the territory of Viscount Mantis. The problem is that he has a bad relationship with these two nobles, and this is already the nearest big city. The territory of Asen is very large and wide. It is very far to get to the territory of Viscount Mantis, not to mention the farther Grizzly territory. But after thinking about it, Link suddenly remembered something and said to Billy, "Uncle Billy, ask Nix to come over." Butler Billy agreed and went to call Nix. "Nix, I remember you are from the south of the Great Swamp." Nix in front of Link imitated Butler Billy, standing politely, with two soft ears hanging behind his head, giving him a feeling of a gentle beast. "Yes, Mr. Link, my hometown is in that direction." As soon as Nix mentioned his hometown, his developed tear glands began to erupt again, but now it's gone. Link was helpless, but fortunately he was used to Nix's tear glands. Whether he was angry or sad, Nix would cry unconsciously. "You said that your tribe has traded with human countries?" Chapter 160 The First Asen Chess Tournament. "Yes, Mr. Link, those human kingdoms will come to us to buy things." In the bedroom, Nix was telling Link about the general situation. Nassim does not have only one human kingdom, but many human kingdoms. For example, some grand duchies and principalities that broke away from the kingdom of Gila, and some weak kingdoms. But those forces are too small, not only weak in strength, but also smaller in land area, and fewer strong people in them. So much so that Lin Ke suspected that some kingdoms were not as powerful as a township of Gila. However, if it is trade, maybe it can surprise Lin Ke. You know, trade can bring wealth, knowledge, population and many other things. If we want to contact there, how do we go? Lin Ke is considering opening a trade route. Whether it is selling silk, paper or something else, his experience in his previous life told him that this is a place where he can get rich. Mr. Link, I don't know. Nix tried to think, but couldn't figure it out. We actually live very close to the Great Swamp, not as far as Asen Castle, but we also need to cross the real Great Swamp. From the center of the lava swamp to the outside, there are circles of dense jungles. It is said that the center of the Great Swamp is the deep pit caused by the big meteorite. The famous giant river flows from west to southeast through this place. After a long period of evolution, it has become the lava swamp, a famous dangerous place in Nassim. In Link's view, it is simply a treasure land with abundant resources. But in the eyes of others, if you can go to the secondary plane to crush and obtain resources, why go to the lava swamp to compete with creatures of the same level? What's more, in the eyes of others, the lava swamp is the territory of the kingdom of Gila, and the lord is Lady Tide, which is even less coveted. If what Princess Lin Ke announced was effective, then this lava swamp would have become Asen's territory. How about this? Let's go there before next spring and take a look at the situation there. Spring brings revival, everything is restless, and it is easy to cause battles. In addition, Lin Ke also needs to guide farmers on planting, and it is best to cultivate a new profession. So it is best to solve it before spring. However, I don't know if the monsters will be solved before spring. Nix said what Lin Ke was worried about. If they can't be solved, it will be difficult to open a trade route. Forget it, let's go to Parrot City another day. We can only wait and see. Lin Ke sighed and had to choose to buy slaves in Parrot City. Okay, Mr. Lin Ke. But Watson held a chess competition, and tomorrow is a final. Should we go the day after tomorrow? Nix was a little awkward and hesitantly put forward his opinion. Chess competition? Final? Lin Ke raised his eyebrows. You also participated? He has been writing books during this period, and he did guide Watson. He didn't expect that he would really organize a competition, and it was quite good. It's just that too many people participated, including many people from the castle and Asen village. Because chess is easy to make and play, it's easy to get started. Yes, Mr. Link, and I'm in the finals. Nix shyly touched the back of his head. Okay, Nix. Link stood up and patted Nix on the shoulder. Who are my followers participating? Let's go and see how Watson's venue is arranged. Lin Ke was looking forward to whether Watson could successfully become the first worker. Workers refer to laborers who do not own the means of production and rely on wages for their living. It includes physical labor and mental labor. The difference between workers and non-workers does not lie in whether they engage in physical labor, but in whether they own the means of production. The means of production, that is, the land, factory buildings, tools, raw materials, etc. required for production, all of which belong to Link. Workers are people who are hired to do physical or technical labor for wages. They do not own the means of production themselves, but can obtain wage-like income through their own labor, do a job, and get a salary. Ordinary people can be workers, and those who are extremely outstanding, model workers, etc. Lin Ke will give them the opportunity to become workers. Workers to become professionals need to understand the following qualities: contract, labor, employment relationship and solidarity. The particularity of workers means that, even if this group occupies the majority, it will be exploited by a small number of people. For example, the employer may withhold wages, or use some means to achieve ulterior purposes. Therefore, on the basis of following the contract and employment relationship, only by uniting, can we truly become workers. Before, Watson had never understood the quality of solidarity, so Lin Ke specifically asked him to set up a workers' association to fight for the deserved interests of the workers. At the same time, when the workers feel like they are seeing their family members, when they see each other, the understanding of this solidarity will deepen. The significance of small activities such as chess competitions lies here, and they can connect with each other through such small activities. But Lin Ke did not expect that in Nassing, where entertainment is extremely scarce, a chess competition can attract a large number of people to participate. When Lin Ke came to the wonderful place, the venue here had been almost arranged. When Lin Ke was in charge of the Great Wall Fortress, he ordered the architect to expand the wonderful land. Now the wonderful land is a semi-enclosed stadium, which is much better than the previous grass and wooden platform. Watson was there too. Lin Ke casually asked about the various aspects of the game and returned excitedly, leaving Watson confused. However, on the second day, Lin Ke was still shocked by the crowd. Chess. Do so many people know how to play chess now? Lin Ke was a little unbelievable, but he felt it was reasonable. Boring life with chess. It is so interesting. Regardless of gender, age, or young, everyone will find it fun. At least it is easier than the human making movement, and the sense of accomplishment is greater. Lin Ke's arrival, the audience did not know. They sat in their seats, watching the two chess games magnified by the water mirror technique on the field below. On one side were Nix and a teenager, and on the other side were Watson and a bald man. Bald Jack. He also came to participate. Lin Ke didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Bald Jack was the person who specialized in managing slaves under Lin Ke's command. He also secretly learned to write. He was a very thoughtful person. Yes, young master. John followed Lin Ke and muttered, "What's so interesting about this kind of competition? It's so boring." Lin Ke glanced at him and heard that John was eliminated in the audition and was eliminated by a child of the same age. Who is the boy who is competing against Nix? Lin Ke looked at the boy and was quite surprised. The boy is called Yale, a very smart boy. Rama and Lalita were also behind Lin Ke. They were all eliminated. You should know that becoming a professional will greatly benefit a person's body, and the brain will work many times faster. It can be said that this boy can advance all the way and beat Rama and others down. It can be said that it is very good. Yale was saved by Nix. John reminded from the side. It was also that time that Nix became a real doctor. And, young master, do you remember King Che? This is King Che's younger brother. King Che? Lin Ke nodded slightly, his eyes moving. Why buy slaves? Wouldn't it be better to cultivate such a gifted boy? Chapter 161, Workers and Chess Players. In the end, to everyone's surprise, the boy named Yale actually beat the Nix. And Watson also beat Bald Jack. Interestingly, Lin Ke prepared a worker profession for Watson. And for Bald Jack, he prepared a capitalist or slave owner profession. Watson beat Jack. Interesting. Finally, it was Watson and Yale's duel. Lin Ke looked at the water mirror that was similar to a projection screen and felt that sometimes he couldn't keep up with the child's thinking. The same was true for Watson. Although he played chess very well, the kid on the opposite side could not only see through his intentions, but also made unpredictable moves in his chess moves. This made Lin Ke more and more satisfied. Mr. Watson's flying crossbow was quite standard. In the center of the wonderful land was a chessboard, and there was a host explaining it next to it. Of course, the chessboard was shielded from external influences. Oh. Little Yale's move. Well, this move. Well, what's the use of this soldier? The host obviously didn't understand this move and didn't know what to say. However, later on, Yale relied on that soldier to kill all around on the chessboard, eating up 2 soldiers, a crossbow and a guard soldier, in a row, and finally exchanged for a magician horse. Everyone was amazed at Yale's move. It's amazing. Little Yale's soldier almost ate up all of Mr. Watson's chess pieces, the host exclaimed, causing the villagers to be amazed. A soldier, in their eyes, was useless, but Yale played it in a fancy way. A surprise attack wins. When Yale's soldier walked to the opposite side, Watson was already frowning and sweating. Later, he raised his hand to admit defeat. I lost. Little Yale, you are awesome. Watson stood up from his chair and began to applaud. Applauding is a way that Lin Ke taught the Azan people. It has the same meaning as praise and cheering, but it is more elegant. When Watson applauded, the whole wonderful land began to applaud, and some people couldn't help but cheer with excitement. Victory! Little Yale from Azan village actually defeated Watson. This was surprising to everyone. Yale, a little kid, actually defeated Watson, a young man who was considered very smart by everyone. Victory! First place! Yale is first place. The young host shouted happily, and his voice was heard far away through the loudspeaker. Little Yale is so amazing. That's right, I played chess with Little Yale, and I lasted for 5 minutes. TSK, you are so bad. If you ask me, Little Yale really brings honor to his family. Yes, yes. It's a pity that his brother Kingsture is being punished. Oh, he is a good man. The topic of the villagers naturally turned to the field related to Yale, such as Yale is 9 years old and can get married. Yale's brother Kingsture was punished by Lin Ke. This was their first time watching a game, and also the first time they applauded and cheered on a large scale. The villagers became more and more excited and felt that their hearts were surging with emotions that they had not had in the past few decades. They didn't know how to vent, so they could only cheer. If you have to say it, it is a feeling of being a real human and becoming an objective subject. They responded to Watson's call and personally participated in the layout of the competition venue. Many people also participated in the competition, and even some prizes were made by everyone together. This is a feeling that has never been experienced before. In the past, although everyone in Azan helped each other in the same village, there were many frictions in life because there were many fights over trivial matters. But those who joined the factory did not have to fight for that piece of land, but got paid for working, which changed their relationship from the original distant relatives and close enemies to a relatively harmonious one. Watson could also perceive this change. He stood on the field and felt the very high emotions of the crowd. He lost, but he was still very happy because he could feel that the villagers were different from before. This change was brought about by Lin Ke asking him to set up a union and seek benefits for the union members. Watson couldn't help but think of what Lin Ke called unity and then closed his eyes unconsciously. The water mirror technique clearly showed Watson with his eyes closed. Lin Ke's heart moved, knowing that Watson had realized the meaning of unity. Workers, here they come. Lin Ke felt a great force approaching. The next step is to find a way to improve the arable land. When the output of grain is not linked to manpower, productivity can be liberated. Little Lin Ke, why does that kid close his eyes? Lin Ke was thinking, and Lalita beside him whistled and pointed at Yale below. Lin Ke came back to his senses, looked at Yale, and said in surprise, is he self-enlightened? Self-enlightenment? Exclamation mark. What the hell? Why buy slaves? You can raise one directly from the ready-made ones. Thinking of this, Lin Ke made a gesture to Ramir and the others, and then the group walked towards the center of the venue. Watson and Yale didn't take long, and when Lin Ke came down, they had already opened their eyes. They were both experiencing that mysterious feeling. How do you feel? Lin Ke came downstairs, first waved off the excited host, and then looked at Watson with a smile. Master Lin Ke. Watson nodded vigorously. His honest look could not hide his excitement. Worker. It's worker. It's really a worker profession. Lin Ke was also excited, but his tone was calm. Well, it's expected. You will experience it carefully after you go back. In the future, your feedback will be obtained from your characteristics. The most important thing should be the labor tray. Good. Watson was very excited, but he looked at Yale, who closed his eyes opposite and looked at Lin Ke in confusion. Master, little Yale. It's a good thing. Lin Ke waved his hand to tell Watson not to worry, and then he couldn't help grinning. Haha, it seems that our Razanen is really a feng shui treasure land. He thought of the profession of chess player in an instant. Originally, he wanted to give Yale a profession similar to staff officer, strategist, military advisor. But since I have enlightened myself, I should be accepted by him. Not bad, very good. Lin Ke looked at the boy in front of him and liked him more and more. Black hair, black eyes, red lips and white teeth. This handsomeness is almost comparable to him. The key is black hair and black eyes. Lin Ke likes it very much. For example, John was originally appointed as a close-fitting male servant because of his black hair and black eyes. However, the child in front of him was a little thin, just a simple coat, and there was a hideous wound on his chest. It was said that he was injured by the killer bull called the Monster, and was later healed by Nyx. Just when Lin Ke was looking at his future subordinates more and more satisfied, a timid voice sounded, "Lord Lin Ke, how is my brother Yale?" Lin Ke turned around and saw a little girl with a runny nose, looking at Yale worriedly. "Lord Lin Ke, this is Eugena's sister," Watson explained softly in Lin Ke's ear. Lin Ke looked at the girl, then sighed deeply, and his good mood disappeared all of a sudden. He still had a promise to fulfill. Chapter 162 New Profession, New Followers. Watson, the various benefits given to her must not be neglected and must be implemented in a practical way. Lin Ke also warned Watson, and then walked forward to look at the little girl. "What's your name?" Lin Ke tried to smile as gently as possible. "I'm Lily, Master Lin Ke. My name is Lily." The little girl Lily looked at Lin Ke, her big eyes flickering at Lin Ke without any fear, but curiosity. "Lily, if you need help in the future, you must remember to come to me, understand?" Lin Ke looked into Hera's eyes and felt that the dirty Lily in front of him looked so cute. This is his soldier's family. So Lin Ke simply took Lily's hand and walked over to wait for Yale's self-enlightenment together. This made many people see it and naturally began to speculate and discuss, and the cheers were much smaller. The villagers got up from their seats and rushed down. They knew Lin Ke's kindness, and they also loved Lin Ke and wanted to get close to Lin Ke. "Why did little Lily run down there? George, you idiot." On the way, a woman was pulling a man, her face full of dissatisfaction. "I don't know either." George was very bitter, especially when he thought of the rumors he had heard before, that nobles liked virgins. Looking at Lin Ke holding his little daughter, he worriedly said, "Lord Lin Ke will not like it." "What are you talking about?" The woman looked at George in surprise, and then said sadly, "If Lily's brother knew, he would be very happy." So the two of them were silent, and then followed the crowd down the road, looking at Lin Ke up close, and did not go to pick up their daughter. "Nyx, your chess skills are pretty good. We can play together in the future." Lin Ke was talking to Nyx at this time, and Nyx had performed very well in the previous game. When Yale and Watson were competing, Nyx and Bull Jack were also competing. In the end, Bull Jack won 4th place, and Nyx won 3rd place. It was all because Mr. Jack let me go. Nyx thanked Bull Jack next to him. No, Mr. Nyx is really amazing." Bull Jack nodded and bowed, with a flattering smile on his face. "Look, he's awake." Lin Ke's followers stood on the periphery, and the villagers were also self-aware, and didn't get too close, but at this time someone saw Yale open his eyes. Yale always felt that he was lucky. He was almost killed by the killer bull he raised, but he met Mr. Nyx and was saved. Later, his brother King Cha joined the army and violated military discipline and was supposed to be killed, but Master Lin Ke mercifully punished him. And now, he has won the chess competition in a very miraculous way. Question mark? He is so lucky. Yale opened his eyes in gratitude, and what came into his sight was Lin Ke's smiling face. "Master Lin Ke," Yale exclaimed, and saw Nyx and the others. "Master Nyx, Master Ami, Ms. Lalita." Seeing the little guy's face full of nervousness, Lin Ke stopped him quickly. "Okay, little Yale, I want to tell you something. Don't say hello yet." Many of Lin Ke's followers have participated in chess competitions and have played against Yale to some extent. "Okay." Yale stood up straight all of a sudden, probably because he secretly watched Lin Ke train soldiers, so he also learned to do it. Little Yale is really good at learning. Haha. I heard that he will join the army when he grows up, just like his brother. No wonder. The villagers looked at Yale trying to be serious and laughed kindly. Don't be so nervous. Lin Ke stepped forward and patted Yale on the shoulder and then said lightly, if you want to be my follower, come to the castle tonight to find me. There are many things that are not suitable to be said in public, so after Lin Ke finished speaking, he turned around and left with little Hera. Follower. The villagers' discussion suddenly became much louder. What does a follower mean? It means that Yale is likely to become a professional and may even become a noble lord in the future. Although it is only a possibility, it still makes the villagers look at Yale with much more enthusiasm. This kid, a potential stock. They can't get close to Lin Ke's other followers, but Yale is a child born and raised in the village. Some people have even begun to wonder if there are any girls of the right age in their own families or their relatives. And Yale. Lin Ke has already walked out of the wonderful place, and he hasn't reacted yet. Yale, you little brat, why don't you thank Master Lin Ke? I told you to be grateful. A man came forward, looking ferocious, but he didn't treat Yale badly, just gently nodded Yale's head. Don't touch Yale's head. A woman was standing next to the big man, patting the man and blaming him. Our little Yale has such a good brain, but you ruined it. These are Yale's parents. Yale came back to his senses when he heard his parents' voices. I became a follower of Master Lin Ke. I became a follower? Like Master Nix. Yale muttered to himself, then his eyes rolled back, and his body fell straight back. Fortunately, Bull Jack quickly supported him, and said with a smile, Master Yale, be careful. Yale's parents were also startled and hurried over to support him. Yale. Watson also came over, with a simple smile on his face. Congratulations. Become a follower of Master Lin Ke. There was a hint of envy in his tone. He also wanted to be a follower of Lin Ke, but Lin Ke had never mentioned this to him, and he felt that he was not worthy, so he didn't dare to mention it. Yes, I have become a follower of Master Lin Ke. Yale's little head seemed to have finally reacted, and it suddenly turned red, then jumped up and cheered. Wow. I have become a follower of Master Lin Ke. There was a sound of congratulations all around, and Watson also said loudly after the congratulations, everyone, please be quiet. On behalf of Master Lin Ke, I would like to congratulate you on your good results in the first chess competition of Asnan. Chess competition. They were originally in a chess competition. Then, Watson waved over there, and someone brought some things over, and handed them to Watson. Watson took the things, and put them on the chess table beside him, and then said again, the first place in this competition is Yale. He will receive a set of chess carved by Master Lin Ke himself, as well as 3 gold coins and an Asnan coin. Watson handed a set of wooden chess and chessboard to Yale, and someone beside him recorded this scene with a photo stone. Yale took the ordinary looking chess with stars in his eyes, and held it in his arms, like a child who had obtained a favorite toy. Or rather, he was still a child, and he loved the gift from the person he admired the most. The second place, that is, me, won a chess picture drawn by Master Lin Ke himself, and 2 gold coins. Watson unfolded a slightly thick fiber paper, on which was a simple sketch drawn by Lin Ke with a homemade pencil. But it also caused a burst of exclamation among the villagers, because this was the first time that a sketch appeared in Nasm. The third place, Lodnix, but he is not here now, and his reward is a gold coin. The fourth place, 8 silver coins, and a kilogram of cheese from George's family. The fifth place, 6 silver coins, and 3 cans of soap berry powder from Old Bull's family. The sixth place. Watson announced the prizes of the top 10 one by one, and these prizes had been announced before. Some villagers were envious, some were jealous, and some were unwilling. But overall, everyone was happy. It didn't matter whether they won a prize or not, nor did it matter what the reward was. The 10th place was very happy to get 2 bundles of fresh cabbage. And Watson, he understood better, while Lin Ke asked him to do these things. Unity. Young Master Lin Ke is really great. Please give me your monthly vote. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Ticket sales points, newsstands, and notice offices. The wonderful land was still filled with laughter and joy. Lin Ke had already walked out with little Lily. Behind his followers, there was a couple, a man and a woman, who looked to be in their 40s. Lin Ke knew that these were Lily's parents. So he stopped, walked over and handed Lily to them. You two, if you have any difficulties in the future, please remember to come to the castle and talk to John or Billy, the butler. If they can't handle it, they will come to tell me. The couple in front of him were a little reserved. They pulled little Lily and didn't know what to say in front of Lin Ke. After a while, the woman asked in a tangled manner, Lord Lin Ke, was he Wegener, brave on the battlefield? The woman and the man looked at Lin Ke, their expressions mixed with expectation and sadness, and the woman's eyes were still faintly sparkling. Brave, very brave. Lin Ke smiled. Moreover, every person who died bravely in our Azanan, his name will be forever left on a stone brick of the Azanan wall to show the glory he brought on the battlefield. The couple became even more emotional after hearing what Lin Ke said. The woman wiped her tears and smiled. Well, Wegener didn't embarrass Master Lin Ke. The man's expression was more relieved. It's Wegener's honor to die for the Lord. Good. Finally, the two of them left with little Lily in excitement, leaving Lin Ke and his group behind. The couple's words not only affected Lin Ke, but also made Lin Ke's followers sigh. Like Rami, when he traveled to Nassau, he rarely saw a lord with such prestige. But this was more of Lin Ke's kindness. In the end, Lin Ke returned to the castle, where someone was waiting for him. In the study. Mr. Lin Ke, everything is ready. Ms. Ishan came to Lin Ke with full of doubts, saying that everything in Parrot City was ready. Is the underground network almost set up? Lin Ke was drawing a sketch, and he didn't delay talking to Ishan. On this point, Mr. Lin Ke, I must admit my mistake to you. Ms. Ishan hammered her left chest with her right hand. Lin Ke put down the pencil in his hand and looked at Ishan. What's wrong? Ms. Ishan smiled sweetly, because I unified the underground world of 35 cities in Azan. 35 small cities. Lin Ke's eyes finally showed a hint of surprise. You mean, the underground world of the entire Azan is unified? Yes. Ishan knelt on one knee and lowered his head. Yes, my honorable Lord Lin Ke. Lin Ke didn't say anything and fell into deep thought, and then the atmosphere in the whole study felt a freezing point. Ishan knelt on the ground, and a trace of cold sweat appeared on his temples. The behavior of beheading first and reporting later is actually a manifestation of disobeying the boss. Moreover, with such a large force, even Ishan was a little frightened. You know, this is the underground world of the entire Azan. Thieves, pickpockets, thieves, killers, fraudsters and other low-level forces are all in it. This undoubtedly tests Lin Ke's trust in Ishan. But Ishan really can't stand the pity of not being able to seize the opportunity that is right in front of him. But she felt that Lin Ke could also see the benefits. This force was huge, and as long as the trust problem was solved, it would bring endless benefits to Lin Ke. Knock, knock, knock. Lin Ke's index finger tapped the armrest of the chair unconsciously, making the originally quiet environment seem even more depressing. After a while, just when Ishan was under increasing pressure, Lin Ke finally spoke. You did a great job. His voice was deep, and it was impossible to tell whether he was happy or angry. For specific objects, specific attitudes are required. Facing servants who were separated by several layers, Lin Ke would show kindness, and cordiality. But facing his direct subordinates, Lin Ke would be strict, deep, and maintain majesty. Ishan was not a follower, but a subordinate. But you acted on your own, and I can fully suspect that you want to use this to threaten me. Lin Ke looked at Ishan with a smile. Dear Lord Lin Ke, I dare not. I won't. Lady Ishan was shocked and looked up at Lin Ke. I have no reason to do that. You are from Ackley. Lin Ke still smiled. No, I have become the man of Lord Lin Ke. Ishan's tone was firm. John and the others only call me Young Master, or Young Master Lin Ke, but not Lord. Well, this seems to be a very ancient title. Lin Ke said slowly. Hishin was determined when he heard this, and he was no longer so flustered, but tentatively asked, Lin Ke, young master? Ha ha ha, no need to do that. Lin Ke laughed, got up from the chair, and then went forward to help Hishin up. Hishin was very heavy, and Lin Ke had to use an air pressure shield to get her up. Since I have given you power, I will trust you. I have always been tolerant of mistakes, but I will never allow betrayal. Lin Ke pulled Miss Hishin aside and sat down, and then returned to her seat. Has the store of Akali been renovated? Lin Ke sat down for a while, and his face returned to a casual look. Hishin was tense inside, and put away all his tentative thoughts. She only felt that Lin Ke's majesty was comparable to Akali, and even far exceeded Akali. Yes, Master Lin Ke. Hishin nodded. Well, put words on the 3 windows, the ticket office, the newsstand and the bulletin board. Lin Ke stroked the space ring on the upper left, then took out an amber, and played with it on his fingertips. Okay, Master Lin Ke. Hishin saw the broken dragon crystal in Lin Ke's hand, and felt that it was very familiar, but she didn't know what it was. She continued to listen to Lin Ke's instructions. The ticket is the audience ticket, which means watching the performance in the wonderful place. It also comes with a juice and a performance list. The price is 2 silver coins. Lin Ke began to talk about his arrangements. The newsstand sells our paper, newspapers, books and other paper products, as well as miscellaneous items such as chess. I will give these goods to you later. The bulletin office only needs a panel, mainly some orders I issued. Just post them there, just like the messenger did before. Hishin listened carefully and tried to figure out Lin Ke's intentions. By the way, hold a lottery at the ticket office. After thinking about it, Lin Ke decided to make another money-making tool. Raffle? Hishin didn't understand. Yes, raffle. Lin Ke smiled and explained. There are many prizes. Let me give you an example. Lin Ke turned around and drew a simple fan-shaped diagram on the drawing paper in front of the table, divided into many parts. Most of them were thank you for your patronage, but they were forked in various parts of the fan-shaped diagram and did not close together. A small part was rewards. 10 rewards, marked with NASN numbers 1 to 10, representing the first prize to the 10th prize. While Lin Ke was drawing there, he explained this routine to Hishin. Hishin stood behind Lin Ke, his eyes became brighter and brighter, and when Lin Ke finished speaking, he closed his eyes directly. Oh my god, there is feedback for this? Lin Ke was speechless. Hishin is a professional businessman. It seems that one of the characteristics of businessmen is to make money. Chapter 164, Draw Office and Lottery Tickets. The more Hishin listened, the more frightened he became. 1 silver coin can be used to play once, and the 8th prize is 10 gold coins. It will be even higher if you go up, not to mention the first 3 prizes. 3rd prize, 2000 ASN coins. This reward is nothing special at first glance, but the value of 1 ASN coin is equivalent to a slave working 12 hours a day. What's more, there are many specialties of ASN that can only be bought with ASN coins, such as the best fiber paper and various future products, which are limited editions. Moreover, 2000 ASN coins can also get the opportunity to be enlightened by AOF himself. This is simply the gospel of all non-nobles. Next is the 2nd prize. 2nd prize, 1 hour of teaching by the legendary gentleman. 1 legend, 1 hour of teaching. This kind of reward is precious. If the 3rd prize is for people who have some money, but have no way to become a professional, then the 2nd prize is for many professionals or nobles above level 10. Breakthrough is their wish. Although AOF himself is not very proficient in other research, his disciples are. At that time, Lin Ke can just teach in secret. If that doesn't work, he can transform into a crow to shock first, and then teach through the door. As for the 1st prize, the professional characteristics of a certain profession, including knight, scholar, singer, charming beauty, butler, bard, doctor. Professional characteristics. This has always been the top secret of the major forces. You must know that some special professional ratios are in the hands of the major forces and can only be given by joining that force. In this case, Lin Ke took out this 1st prize, which is completely like throwing a beautiful young girl in black silk to an island full of LSP. It is completely conceivable that the big forces may not look down on Lin Ke's professions, but some small forces will definitely be tempted. Master Lin Ke, are there really so many prizes? Hishin expressed his concerns. Haha, you see, you are also tempted, right? Lin Ke smiled, then pointed to the words he had hinted. Look, I told you, this is one of the professional trays. Seeing Hishin puzzled, Lin Ke smiled and shook his head and said, first of all, the first prize is limited. There are only 30 in a small month, and the trays that appear every day are random, and they are all from different professions. Only when a person has gathered all the trays, we will tell him the real ratio. Before they are gathered, it won't work. At this point, Hishin suddenly realized. To gather all the professional trays, you have to brush them crazily and draw lots continuously before you can get them. This is too. Hishin had to say that he was really tempted just now, and he is still very tempted now. After all, everyone who loves gambling and drawing lots will feel that they will be the lucky one. Even a business savvy person like Hishin can't help it, let alone others. Of course, Lin Ke is targeting the middle class, that is, some carpenters, blacksmiths and the like. They can support their families, have some savings and spare money, and can do many things. Even for some low-level professionals, gold coins are very good things, and the 10th to 3rd prizes are also very valuable. Lottery, lottery. Master Lin Ke, you are so amazing. Ms. Hishin felt from the bottom of her heart that Lin Ke was really suitable to be a businessman. Lottery, fragments, Pinzixi, they are all my teachers. Lin Ke thought of the more ruthless routines in his previous life, and even considered whether to create a lottery. Right? Do it. Why not? So after teaching the lottery, Lin Ke started to teach the lottery. I will give you another lottery, called lottery. Hearing that Lin Ke was going to throw out something again, Hishin immediately held his breath and listened carefully. In simple terms, we give 10 numbers, and the people who buy tickets can come here to choose 10 numbers to arrange, and then 2 days later we will announce the numbers set on the day. If they are completely in line, there will be a reward of 10,000 gold coins, even if only 4 numbers are correct. Lin Ke talked about one of the lotteries in his previous life. There are many ways to play the lottery, whether it is sports lottery or welfare lottery, it is very profitable. Sports lottery is not very popular in ASEAN. After all, it is a supernatural power. Playing football or something like that can easily turn into a fight, but Lin Ke can consider the arena. The welfare lottery is not bad. After all, the numbers announced every day are thought up by Aofu, so some weird magic can't detect the real results. It's just that the funds involved in the lottery will be a particularly large number, and the lottery is essentially gambling, with a small bet for a big gain. If Lin Ke is targeting the middle class and above, then the lottery will involve the lower class. After all, who doesn't want to gamble once for something that can be bought with a few copper coins? While talking to Hishin, Lin Ke even felt that he could open a casino, but the amount involved is larger, and Lin Ke estimates that Aofu alone may not be able to cover it. If liquor is still there, it would be great. Lin Ke hasn't seen liquor for a long time. At first, he was a little annoyed by being pestered by him all day, but now he misses it. And with liquor, there is a backer. Now, liquor has been taken away by the dark girl. Liquor's housekeeper Curry is probably working under the eldest prince now, so it's a bit difficult to get a tiger skin. Otherwise, with liquor support, Lin Ke would open ticket offices all over the Gila Kingdom, and his ability to attract money is simply amazing. Lottery. Lottery. After Lin Ke finished talking about the lottery, Hishin muttered to himself and closed his eyes again and unexpectedly received feedback again. Lin Ke was also sure that Hishin really understood, but unfortunately he didn't have the relevant characteristics, so he couldn't receive any feedback. After Hishin received the feedback, Lin Ke began to teach her the next topic. Don't use people who are suspicious, and don't doubt people who are used. Lin Ke believed that his leader bloodline was not so bad, and he also believed in his own vision. Hishin should have been loyal to him a long time ago. Even if he was not loyal, Lin Ke had a way. So now Lin Ke began to tell Hishin about his professional accountant conjecture. The current accounting procedures are actually very unfavorable for checking and analyzing accounts. Lin Ke casually wrote the line "one batch of goods was sold today" on the paper. "Mr. Lin Ke, is there any problem?" Hishin asked, not knowing what Lin Ke was going to say. Lin Ke shook his head and said, "Auditing is not that simple. I think that many things can be done from the accounts, such as cost, financial management, auditing, risk management, strategic management, etc." Lin Ke did not explain in detail, but tried to explain them one by one as simply as possible. He explained for about 3 hours before asking, "I have an idea for a new career. Are you willing to try it and take up the job?" Miss Hishin, who was dizzy after hearing this, immediately answered without thinking, "Yes. A new career is also a new opportunity." Chapter 165. Try your best to drain the magma dragon. Lin Ke talked to Hishin for a long time. Hishin's surprise at the beginning turned into shock, then into admiration, and finally into worship. It was amazing. Hishin felt that he had reached an orgasm. The feedback from the merchant hit her rationality wave after wave, and the feeling of pleasure made her want to scream. But she thought that it would be very indecent. After all, her majestic body would probably make her scream like a barking black-backed gorilla, so Hishin held back her screams. So when she came out, she was so dizzy. After getting in the car and walking on the road, she moaned comfortably, which made the attendants around her feel very strange. On Lin Ke's side, after Hishin left, he was still a little unsatisfied. It would be great if the financial system could be directly established. However, after talking about accounting, he also found that there was actually another system that needed to be established, that is, the tax and legal system. Although Asen had a tax system, it was not perfect enough. But these were all things for the future. Lin Ke had another thing to deal with today. "Come out, magma dragon." Lin Ke threw the amber to the ground and ripped a drop of blood on it. "This is the way to summon with blood. Honorable, ahem, little guy, are you the descendant of Swain? I'm a good friend of your ancestor, and I have specially separated a strand of dragon soul to teach and help you. You can call me teacher." The lava dragon Magnus spoke majestically, and the small dragon soul spread its wings as much as possible, trying to make its body look bigger. Lin Ke was amused in her heart, but on the surface she pretended to be naive and asked, "But my teacher told me that my teacher's teacher, that is, my ancestor, asked you to be my slave. Ah, isn't that right?" Then I summoned the ancestor to ask. No. Magnus quickly flapped his wings and landed. His face became flattering. "I won't bother him with such a small matter. What is your name, young master? I think you are very smart. Well, you are a level 4 professional, a great talent." As she spoke, the compliment turned into real surprise. She could feel that Lin Ke's soul was very young, about 5 or 6 years old, but he had such a high level. "What is your profession? What is your bloodline? What professions do you know? Tell me all about them. Oh, by the way, you can just call me Lin Ke." Lin Ke sat down, his hands resting on the desk with a natural look. The magma dragon felt Lin Ke's ease, and felt that there was a strong and violent thunder aura on the top of the human castle locking onto itself, so it was naturally very well behaved. That legendary aura was definitely AOS, and the child in front of him must be the outstanding descendant of the even more powerful legend. Since she has become someone else's slave, the magma dragon cannot violate the rules of the contract. If she violates it, she won't be able to pass the level of the legend above. "My name is Magnus, my bloodline is Scalding Boulder, and my profession? My profession is knight." Magnus landed on Lin Ke's desk and sat down, looking very dignified. "Knight?" Lin Ke raised his eyebrows. "Are you sure it's knight?" Why did he think Magnus should be a mount? Feeling Lin Ke's gaze, Magnus's hair stood on end, and his scales exploded. Knights can ride not only life, wind, magma, element, even laws can become our mounts. This is what a knight should be. Magnus growled. Okay, Miss Mag, then may I ask what skills you have?" Lin Ke didn't care about Magnus's little dragon power. He cared more about the fact that he had a skill slot for a knight that hadn't been built yet. "Magnus, I'm Magnus." Magnus roared. "It's like a person named Zankaha. You mistook her name for a bowman and called her Miss Gong. It's weird. Ahem. But I'm really just a young dragon. Just call me Sister Magnus." Unexpectedly, Magnus rolled her eyes and spoke softly. It seems that paying attention to age is a common trait of all female creatures. Lin Ke thought about it and said, okay, I'll call you Sister Mag from now on. It's so tiring to call you that with such a long string of words. Just when Magnus was about to do something naughty, he saw Lin Ke's cold eyes, so he secretly said that it was bad luck, and then he said in a flattering way, little brother Lin Ke, what skills do you want to learn? I have Magma Surf, Scorching Blow, Fire Elemental Fury. These are all skills suitable for night. After listening to Magnus' skills, Lin Ke always felt that these skills were all fire-oriented skills. But for night, Lin Ke wanted skills that could be combined together in the end, or skills with wider practicality. There is a difference between being able to fight and killing and only being able to fight and kill. For example, after Lin Ke built the air pressure shield, the way to use it is not just a shield, but also a wing when charging, or a blade. If a skill can only be used in a fight, it is undoubtedly too one-sided. Well, tell me in detail, from your first skill at level 2 to your current skills, explain everything clearly. Lin Ke looked at Magnus with a smile. At an AMP%. Magnus cursed a bunch of dragon language, and then knocked his head with his hand. I want to die. Lin Ke, are you sure? No, I'm talking nonsense. This dragon soul state does affect my thinking. Where were I just talking about? Oh, yes, talking about this magma surf. Magnus started to explain her skills to Lin Ke with a playful smile. Lin Ke's eyes flashed with a smile. If this magma dragon was not afraid of death, it would not have engraved the resurrection secret text on its dragon body, and would not have been a slave. However, Magnus was not sincere now, or he did not sincerely want to teach Lin Ke. Lin Ke could naturally hear it, so he ordered a cup of peach fruit milk first, then looked at Magnus who was pretending to teach him, and said, you want to be resurrected, right? Magnus, who was chattering and bragging about her predecessor, was suddenly stunned. I can feel whether you are serious or not. Lin Ke shook her head slightly. I will definitely be a legend in the future. I hope you respect me. Respect you? Respect. Magnus just felt speechless to the ordinary but confident child in front of him. What does it have to do with me if you become a legend? Respect a ghost. But, resurrection? Lin Ke understood Magnus's expression, so he immediately said, if possible, of course, I will resurrect you. Magnus actually believed this. Because a legend like Lin Ke's ancestor must have a way to resurrect him. Then, as you wish. Chapter 166, Choice of New Skills. Magnus found that it would be better for her to be honest. This child is simply too smart. In the Holy Life Alliance, whether it is outstanding wisdom or physical strength, agility or strength, it is a manifestation of excellent bloodline. Some intelligent beings can show extraordinary talents in certain aspects when they are only a few months old, which is amazing. So although Lin Ke's intelligence surprised Magnus, it was just a surprise. She just put away her little thoughts and prepared to teach this child well. When she performs well enough, the adult should think she is back, right? As for whether to be resurrected or not, she is more willing to believe in her relatives. Well, let's start. Lin Ke prepared paper and pen to record. This time, Magnus was honest. He didn't talk about other things or go off topic, but talked about the skills seriously. Lava Surf. This is an extremely powerful skill. As long as there is magma around me, I can use the power of the entire magma as my mount. Wrath of the Fire Element. I can blow your castle up in an instant. And, with a blazing strike, I can even slightly hurt an epic warrior of the same level as level 18. Magnus described her skills one by one, from the first to the last. Her knight profession has a total of 9 skills, and as Lin Ke expected, they are all related to the fire and earth element. Magma originally has these 2 attributes. Moreover, Magnus was well trained by his father, and he is very good in all aspects, and he has also dug deep into the word magma. Ordinary dragons may not care about their mothers after they are born, but Magnus' father is the Red Dragon Cert, one of the 12 legends of the Dragon Clan, and his mother is also a level 10 Earth Dragon. So Magnus is actually very good. But because the bodies of the Dragon Clan are too attractive, the Holy Life Alliance no longer sees dragons. However, Magnus has the long-standing knowledge and heritage of dragons, and there are a lot of them. So Lin Ke kept squeezing knowledge from Magnals in various ways. Recorded it. For example, the Emperor Wumi almost did not take Princess 5-colored dragon, but Princess Black Dragon. At critical times, the 5-color dragon directly lay down without sleep, otherwise who would know this? The king used to be the small class of Princess Black Dragon, but Princess Black Dragon had moved away with the dragons. So, isn't that how I got this skill? You know, when my fiery furnace came out, it melted an 8th level skill directly. Magnath the lava dragon looked proud. An 8th level skill can only be released at level 16. It can be said that it is very good to be able to build such a skill when he just entered level 16. Lin Ke also thought it was good, so he also recorded this skill. It was not until the evening, very late, that Magnath smacked his lips and coughed twice. Well, do you want to go to bed? I will tell you about the wild boar king and the 12 white rabbits of the wild boar tribe affiliated with my ex-husband's tribe. After saying that, Magnath looked at Lin Ke with expectant eyes. Lin Ke was silent and said for the 13th time, I'm going to the toilet. Okay. Magnath cheered. She knew that Lin Ke would be more energetic after going to the toilet. You know, she is a lonely mother dragon for thousands of years. She crawled back and forth on Lin Ke's desk on all fours, muttering, well, where should I start? That big white rabbit seemed to have given me a candy. It was because of that candy that I wanted to go to the lake to see the scenery in a good mood, and I accidentally discovered him. Lin Ke listened to a few sentences casually, and he couldn't stand it anymore, so he ran to the toilet. Too much talk. Bullshit useful information. Damn. This mother dragon is a gossip person, and she pays attention to all kinds of gossip and entertainment news. What 2 or 3 things that the White Pigeon King and the Lark group have to say? What the tribal leader of the Black Crocodile Elves was besieged after cheating? What 2 white dragons gave birth to a pure black dragon? Too messy. The Holy Life Alliance is a large tribal aggregate, composed of tribes of various intelligent races, large and small, and a new monarch is rotated every 200 years. For such a complex country, Magnus must know very little information. It's not that it's completely useless, it might be a little bit useful, but most of it is just some messy garbage information. Fortunately, Magnus has finished talking about skills, and Lin Ke is also thinking about the skills he wants. He is a 4th level scholar and a 4th level knight. The first skill of scholar is the streamlined air pressure shield, and the second skill is temporarily vacant. The first skill of knight is charge, and the second skill is also temporarily vacant. The skills of the magma dragon Magnus are not only attack skills. For example, the magma surfing is actually surfing the fire element and the earth element, that is, the earth element. In the past, Lin Ke felt that knight must have a mount to exert its power. If there is no mount, it will be very passive. However, the magma dragon Magnus told him that the power of knight is not only in charging, but also in that the mount can be everything. Even Butler Billy didn't know this, and Garros was the same. So for knight, the first skill is charge, and the second skill should be riding everything. But Lin Ke didn't actually want lava surfing. Because Magnus is a lava dragon, her father prepared skills for her that enhance her abilities, which complement each other. If Lin Ke had to choose, she would rather choose skills such as air surfing or earth surfing, so that she can have a mount anytime and anywhere. However, Magnus is only a knight, not a scholar. The fatal thing is that she doesn't have any research ability at all. Her feedback all comes from battles. As for skills, most of them are what her father gave her, and her attention in life is kept on gossip. Therefore, Lin Ke's idea means knowing how to construct these skills, and analyzing and studying with AOF, and finally making one that suits him. Chapter 167. The situation suddenly changes. The lava dragon Magnus talks too much. After Lin Ke came out of the toilet, he was inhumanely bombarded for several hours again, and he was not able to get rid of it until the evening under the pretext of meditation. Then you can't put me back. I'm tired of the feeling of sleeping. Magnus' voice was a little pleading. Lin Ke pondered for a moment and nodded in agreement. You can't fly out of the castle, and you can't tease others. This little female dragon will be one of his knowledge bases in the future. She is ancient and knowledgeable, gossip, so there is no need to really treat her like a slave. Magnus, who originally only wanted to fly in the room, flew through the door and flew to the corridor in an instant. Lin Ke smiled and lay down on the bed. Holding the artifact fragments and rotten wood blocks, he entered a meditative state. In the soul space, 3 saplings were swaying gently. The knowledge on the left and the leader on the right had grown taller, but the luck in the middle was still in the budding state. Lucky, inventor, or scientist. Lin Ke thought about the profession assigned to his lucky bloodline and fell into deep thought. His talent was Andrew's level and above, so now he had no shortage of feedback, but what he lacked was the capture and digestion of magic. Now, he only needed 2 hours a day to feed 2 bloodlines, and the 2 would need several hours of digestion to truly become the energy of the profession. But because of his super high talent, he could actually capture more element to feed his bloodline. In other words, he could actually take up another profession. No, to be precise, he could now take up 4 or 5 more professions, and it would not affect his level of promotion and development. Andrew's level of talent is not just talk. Lin Ke reached the height that others could not reach in several years, decades or even a lifetime in just a few months. Let's take it one step at a time. Scientists are actually similar to scholars and truth researchers. Inventors may be auxiliary and research type professions. Lin Ke was thinking about the problem while capturing scattered element and feeding them to his bloodline. The skills of scholar can be obtained from Orth, and the skills of knight can be obtained from Magnus. But for the inventor or scientist profession that he wants to hide, the skills need to be created, combined, and constructed by himself. Such a big fire element. Lin Ke sensed a rather large fire element, captured it, and then fed it to the leader, directly feeding the leader half full. The wood element also fed the knowledge. Not to mention 2 hours of meditation. Lin Ke even finished today's work in just 20 seconds. This fire element is probably from the amber dragon crystal. Although the effect is not as good as the artifact fragment, it is still good. After the meditation, Lin Ke fell asleep, and the magma dragon Magnus actually sneaked into Fran's bedroom. For several consecutive days, the temperature dropped sharply, and the grain in the farm was also harvested. It was different from the rural production method of Lin Ke's previous life. The ancient Eastern method in the previous life was mainly based on the cultivation of farmland, fruit trees, and mulberry silkworms, supplemented by silkworm breeding, livestock raising, and women's handicrafts. The crops grown in the farmland are all food for people to eat. A few of them will have 1 or 2 fruit trees, a chicken coop, etc. The production method of Nasan is mainly based on individual farms. Half of the farmland in a farm will be used to cultivate crops such as rye, oats, and wheat, and the other half may be used to grow forage grass to supply livestock. Like Azan, the main crops for livestock supplied by the farm are dry beans to prevent giller cattle from estrus, forage grass knife grass for abundant milk, and common peas. Grains are rye, wheat, and oats. The maturity of these crops makes the farmers in the fields excited. Our Azan is great. I heard from my husband that the buckwheat in the field has a bumper harvest. Walking on the way from the papa making room to the canteen, several lads laughed and talked happily. Originally, these people were pale and thin, but now they are all fat and strong. That's right. My giller cow has plenty of milk, because the knife grass produces a lot. Another auntie was so excited. I heard from Lord Lin Ke that milk is good for our health. I have to give my little Will more. Yes, Lord Lin Ke is so good, so kind, and so wise. Who said it wasn't? If you ask me, Lord Lin Ke will become a god in the future. A god? No, you have to become a legend. I heard that legends are more powerful. Yes. No, you have to become His Majesty Woomian. His Majesty Woomian is more powerful than legends. Yes. These aunties walked towards the cafeteria while chatting, but at this moment, there was a panic not far behind them. Run. What a scary monster. Run. Warcraft. The shouts came from afar, shocking the crowd into panic. Warcraft is coming. Warcraft. Everyone who reacted was startled and fled in panic. In the distance, a giant bear with sharp teeth and claws came running at a high speed. This giant bear with pale hair was 2 stories tall, and 3 hideous bone spurs grew out of its head, which were extremely sharp. It just slapped its paws lightly, and a person screamed, and turned into a piece of blood and flesh. The 2 sharp teeth in its lower jaw extended to the position of its nose. Roar. The pale giant bear waved its 2 paws, and more than a dozen bone spurs condensed out of thin air, and then flew out, directly piercing through the walls. Some people were just touched and turned into blood mist. The villagers fled in panic, but this panic did not last long before they calmed down. Boom. Or thunder fell from the sky and struck the pale giant bear directly, blowing the giant bear into a bloody mess. The figure of Aofu appeared next to the giant bear. A level 14 bone-piercing bear? Aofu looked at the fallen giant bear with a solemn expression, somewhat doubtful. How could a level 14 monster be let go by the prince and his men? Orf changed his mind and turned into a bolt of lightning again, rushing towards the direction of the Great Wall Fortress. However, the faster he rushed, the more frightened he became. There was not only one giant bear, but many monsters scattered in the fields, wantonly destroying the land and crops, and some were gnawing at the corpses of the villagers. Orf killed many monsters with lightning along the way, and stopped only when he was about to reach the fortress. That was an army. The coalition forces of the fortress were retreating, and in the sky in the distance, the star class were fighting in a group. Sir Orf. At this time, a man in armor came flying over and called Orf. Count Greatsword. Orf said in a flat tone, saying nothing. Sir Orf, we lost. We lost. Count Greatsword's face was grey and full of bitterness. Chapter 168, The Great Escape. Lost. Aof stood in mid-air, his face solemn. Is there a strong man comparable to the Emperor Wumian? No, it's not that there is such a strong man, but the deadline is coming soon. The deadline of His Majesty's oral order. The Great Sword Count looked ugly, and the Great Prince is too aggressive. His incarnation has been seriously injured. The Great Prince's incarnation is seriously injured? Exclamation mark. Aof's face was shocked. Who can hurt the Great Prince? He is so powerful. After becoming a legend, he actually came to the fortress secretly without telling Lin Ke, and even had a friendly exchange with the Great Prince. In the end, Aof believed that the Great Prince was an extremely powerful person, and his incarnation alone might be as strong as him, not to mention the original body. And now, the Great Sword Count told him that the Great Prince was seriously injured? Exclamation mark. As long as it is within His Majesty's domain, which star glory level can seriously injure him? Wait. Aof thought of what the Great Sword Count said, and couldn't help but widen his eyes. Your Majesty's oral order is gone. His Majesty Wumian's oral order is the reliance of the Great Wall Fortress. I remember Xiaolin told me that the Emperor's order can last until the end of the year, right? Aofu asked in a deep voice, and at the same time, killed a monster below. The Emperor Wumian's order was not originally that long, but who knew that the Great Prince also had an order, so it lasted for a long time. However, yes, but it's almost the end of the year now. Count Giant Sword told the truth. The nobles are going back. The farmland is waiting for a good harvest, and winter is coming. The nobles don't want to fight in winter. In winter, what they want to do more is to stay by the fireplace in the castle and warm themselves by the fire and drink juice, rather than fighting a group of monsters in the cold. So, one after another, nobles of all sizes want to retreat, including Count Grizzly, Count Blackclaw, Count Clearspring, Viscount Mantis, and so on. So, the Great Prince directly summoned everyone, wanting to use himself as bait, and directly come to a big one, cripple the opponent in one fell swoop, and then wait for Emperor Wumian to come and call it a day. Who would have thought that the prince was too confident in his own strength, so that this plan failed halfway through. The prince was directly injured in this action, and 3-star level incarnations were scattered, and 2 were seriously injured. At this time, even the Great Sword Earl had the idea of retreating. If the prince summoned more star level, or called on the nobles to come, it might be possible to hold on. But the prince felt insulted and insisted on defending the fortress with his own strength. The nobles didn't know the reason, but naturally thought that the prince still had support, so they stayed to garrison. However, an accident happened. Those monsters seemed to know that humans were busy harvesting and farming at this time and wanted to leave, so they retreated and seemed to want to launch an attack after humans retreated. The two sides fell into a stalemate. So many monsters also need food and drink. However, in this stalemate, the Grizzly Earl was the first to propose to leave, but he would retain a certain amount of troops to assist in defense. As time went on, many earls also proposed to leave. In this era, the lords still get more food from the land, and they need to go back during the harvest season. Only a few nobles like Earl Ackley who are engaged in business, or nobles like Greatsword whose families make a living by handicrafts, that is, ironwork, are willing to stay. So just this morning, the monsters launched an attack. When Earl Greatsword said this, Aofu already understood. The Great Wall Fortress was lost. Why is the eldest prince so stubborn and self-willed? Aofu frowned, and it was really difficult to agree with the choice of the eldest prince. Not to mention his disciple Lin Ke. Even people like him know that it is difficult to support alone. No help, no retreat, stubborn. Alas, Lord Aofu, I must return to my own territory now, and Asnan, please bear with me. After Earl Greatsword explained the reason, he flew back to his team below and led the team to rush into the distance. Aofu turned into a thunder again and rushed all the way to the Great Wall Fortress. This place has been occupied by monsters at this time, and the eldest prince and other star level are nowhere to be found. In the distance, at the end of Wu Mian's oral instructions, there were several legendary monsters blocked in the jungle. Those monsters and Aofu looked at each other from a distance. HMPH. Aofu snorted lightly, and his body turned into a thunder and returned to the direction of Azan. He had to bring the news to Lin Ke in time. What? Massive escape. Lin Ke slammed the table and stood up, and Xiao Xingyan, who was standing and resting on the table, was startled. That's right, Azan is not safe now. Aofu was also very serious, even more concerned than Lin Ke, because he knew that Lin Ke would definitely not retreat. Organize a retreat. Lin Ke immediately made up his mind. Let the people retreat. Organize the people of the 5 villages and the residents of Parrot City to retreat. Unable to stop. So many monsters need a Gira kingdom to resist, not a territory. If it weren't for the decree of His Majesty Wu Mian before, perhaps the Great Wall would have been gone long ago. But speaking of it, the legendary treaty that cannot be issued still has an impact on those monsters. Otherwise they would not really watch there, but could raid from behind. You have to know that, although the Great Wall Fortress stretches for several kilometers, it is just a flash for the legend. The legend will not come out, but the countless monsters still need to be resisted. If you can't resist, you can only retreat. So Lin Ke used the sound amplification technique to give orders directly to everyone in the castle. People's knights, followers, all gather at the door. Lin Ke's voice spread out, surprising everyone. They had just finished their meal and were resting, and some people were even about to fall asleep. After hearing the order, everyone started to move, including Antar and Fueling. They were also curious about what was going on. Lin Ke didn't have time to explain too much at this time. Azan Castle alone could not resist the hand beast tide. He could only wait for other lords for a while until Wu Mian returned. After a while, Lin Ke had appeared at the door of the castle and told the story in a deep voice and said, "Time. What we need is to buy time for our people. Buy time. There are so many cities in Azan, so many residents. If all become captive food for monsters, then Lin Ke will be finished. If he can't even protect his own people, no one will be willing to enter his territory for protection in the future." Now, a small number of monsters have begun to attack, and all Lin Ke has to do is lead his soldiers to protect. After hearing Lin Ke's words, everyone looked solemn. They returned from the battlefield unwillingly and had long wanted to return to the battlefield. Unfortunately, what they wanted was actually another way, not so passive. Chapter 169 Faith is always born in danger. Teacher, please come with us to guard it. After Lin Ke dealt with the castle affairs, AOF was covering up the space-time teleportation array in the dungeon. The valuable things in the castle had been packed up and put into space rings. It was too sudden. Fortunately, although the incident happened suddenly, Lin Ke had anticipated this situation before, so he was prepared. With his order, the entire Azan castle started to move. That's not all. More than 200 cuckoo birds were released from Azan Castle and contacted the lords of Azan territory and various forces, such as the nobles around Azan. Request for help. Warning. Evacuation. Lin Ke brought out some of the training that he had rehearsed before, so the people of Azan Castle and the 5 villages saw this scene. Each village evacuated under the command and supervision of a professional adult in an orderly manner. It's not that there have been natural disasters and man-made disasters in the past, such as the War of Gods and the War of Legends, which affected a wide range. Once such a situation occurs, it will be catastrophic for the masses at the bottom. Most nobles would gather their troops to protect themselves immediately, especially those who were extremely corrupt. The territory would become chaotic at this time, with theft and robbery happening one after another. Hunger and panic would spread throughout the territory, and the people would be in dire straits and in mourning. Let's look at their Azan. Hurry up. Don't bring big items. Bring more gold coins. We'll have to come back later. Bring more food and water. Lord Lin Ke said that these are the necessities. Herbs. Lord Nix has ordered that purple flying flowers, yellow grapevines, lucky flowers, these must be brought. A man stood in the 5th village of Azan with a whip in his hand. It was Jack. He was holding a piece of fiber paper and was reading the contents on it. If there was a criminal, he would whip him, like now. HMPH. Jack saw a thief in his peripheral vision, so he whipped him. The whip was covered with a light black energy, and after touching the man, it wrapped around him and drilled into the thief's brain through his ears, mouth and other places. In a short moment, the thief stood there motionless with a dull look on his face. Jack waved his hand again, and the thief came over like a zombie and stood beside him with his head lowered and his eyes lowered. I said, Lord Lin Ke does not allow theft, robbery and other things to happen. Those who disobey his orders will be killed. Although Jack was short and fat, his voice was unquestionable, and he did not look like he would please everyone on weekdays. The villagers were suddenly silent, and they did not dare to have any small thoughts. Even when they were swept by Jack's eyes, they felt sweaty. Jack nodded with satisfaction. Just after the incident yesterday, Lin Ke enlightened and gave Jack a profession on the grounds that he had made outstanding contributions during the war. The profession is slave owner. This is a gift from the Count of Giant Sword, which can be regarded as making up for his guilt towards Lin Ke. Lin Ke naturally forgave the Count of Giant Sword. However, Lin Ke also signed a contract with the Count of Giant Sword for this profession, and Lin Ke can only give this profession to one person. Lin Ke just thought that Jack was a good fit. He was ambitious and would do anything to get ahead. He also taught himself to read, which was considered ambitious. That's why he was given this profession, and he could even try the capitalist profession in the future. Lin Ke always needed someone in the dark to help him deal with many dark things. Of course, because Jack was not currently a follower in the system reward, his talent for enlightenment was only medium. In other villages, there were also professionals guarding. Village 1 was Nix, who could not only let the villagers assist in the retreat, but also treat some wounded people with limited mobility and pick some herbs along the way. Village 2 was Rami. Under the skill of the Song of Inspiration, the villagers were not only free of fear and worry, but were full of energy and acted very quickly. Village 3 was Lalita, whose part-time job was an 8th level, charming beauty, but her main job was a 2nd level knight. There was no need to do anything. Just a few words and the villagers would obey and be charmed to do things. The same was true for Sophie in Village 4. Her previous performances had given Sophie the power of an idol. She sang and walked with the villagers. It was not like they were fleeing, but rather like they were going on a picnic. In addition to the 5 village farms, there was also Watson from the paper-making house. Family, we have the same aspirations. We can call each other comrades. Watson raised his arms and shouted, Master Lin Ke will definitely take care of our family. Now, all we have to do is not to cause trouble for him. While Watson was speaking inspiring words, he directed the villagers to carry the precious paper. Lord Lin Ke is so good to us. I have never seen such a kind lord who is so friendly, kind, and caring to the people. He loves us so much, how can we let him down? Folks, comrades, everyone in the Workers' Association, work hard. Worker the first skill, comrade encouragement. This is a profession that Lin Ke and Watson discussed and came up with. It refers to bard and singer and incorporates the power of sound and emotion into it. To Lin Ke's surprise, this skill has a mediocre effect on other people, but for workers or union members, the encouraging effect is surprisingly good. Just a rough calculation shows that Watson, who was promoted to level 2 worker in a short period of time, has almost the same inspiring effect on the workers as Sophie, who is level 4. Good. Well said. Master Lin Ke is the best. That's right. I believe Master Lin Ke will protect my wife. Yes. Everyone, work harder. My leg is broken. Who will wear this box of paper? I'll do it. My left hand is disabled, but it doesn't matter. Master Lin Ke can take on a disabled person like me, and I have always wanted to repay him. I'll do it. My knee is injured, but my hands are intact. Master Lin Ke is my benefactor who saved my life. I'll do it. I'll do it. A group of disabled people shouted there, and some people's eyes were wet after hearing it, and their hands and feet worked harder. We women should not lose face. An old lady wiped her wet eyes. Hurry up and take the things, and catch up with the progress. As she said that, she threw the salary she had just received into the mud. Let's not hold these things and affect our speed. I will starve to death, but I will not cause trouble for Master Lin Ke. She was previously named a model worker for the previous month, and was awarded a whole gold coin, but now she only has 1 silver coin and more than 70 copper coins in her pocket. But the corners of everyone's eyes became even more moist. This old lady is a model worker and a leader of women. She is a widow, but she loves children very much. In addition to her own food and clothing, she will buy things for the children of her neighbors with the money she gets. She is gentle and kind on weekdays. She is very rich on weekdays, but her food and clothing are the cheapest. The remaining money is basically used to help the neighbors. The reason why she has so many copper coins is that she wants to help everyone better with the change. So she is deeply loved by her neighbors. In addition to working hard, she was selected in the first model worker selection of the trade union. Now, she is not only alone, but also penniless. I, Laura, once had a home, but I have lost it. Now, I have another home, which is our workers' association. Aunt Laura said with moist eyes. Many people who like to save change left their things behind and went into battle lightly. Suddenly, there were many copper and silver coins on the ground, but no one picked them up. Everyone was in high spirits, helping each other and trying their best to use their strength to move the paper. Watson was secretly moved and joined in the movement. However, at this moment, a roar came from behind. Roar. A huge dark green leopard rushed from a distance. Warcraft. The paper mill and glass factory are the closest places to the Great Swamp. Warcraft. It's a Warcraft. Everyone panicked. Don't worry, everyone run. I'll cover you. Watson stood up, rolled up his sleeves, clenched his fists, and a trace of metallic air lingered on them. He is of the Iron Fist bloodline. Hey, little Watson, you go first. My legs are not convenient, so I might as well go and feed this big leopard. You guys go quickly. The middle-aged man who broke his leg because of hunting stood up and smiled with an inexplicable light in his eyes. No, let me do it. My feet are smelly and can kill him. I have a lot of calluses and teeth grinding. I fart a lot. The men started arguing and finally looked at each other and laughed. Haha, I said that you farted last time. Humph, that night your legs were on my face. I said why I got athlete's foot in my mouth. Andrew's legs, no wonder. The men laughed and said some vulgar words, then walked past Watson and walked towards the leopard running over. Watson's eyes blurred. These people are all his family members. Watson wanted to pull them back and then go up himself, but he couldn't. He had to practice the profession that Lin Ke gave him, and he couldn't let others down. The others also shed tears. Mrs. Tide, the Almighty, please save us. Goddess of wealth, your believers beg for your help. Ancestor Azan, look at your people. At certain times, it is easiest to have a devout faith. But unfortunately, the gods now have no time to pay attention to these small powers of faith. At this time, the turmoil in the entire region has caused them to lose many believers, and they are all trying to deal with this matter. Roar. The dark green leopard is approaching, its tail is forked, and several terrifying man-eating flowers extend from it, opening its bloody mouth to swallow this side. Go, go. Watson gritted his teeth, his lips and teeth bleeding, urging everyone to run quickly. Some people wanted to lift the packages and boxes of paper, but they were all shouted back by Watson. Master Lin Ke said that human life is greater than gold coins and lifeless property. Everyone also knew this truth, so they just dropped their things and ran towards Azan Castle regardless of the crazy tears. However, before they started running, they heard a childish but firm voice, "Charge. Dada. Dada." A uniform sound of footsteps, and a team of about 200 people ran out from not far away at a very fast speed, rushing towards the monster. Master Lin Ke. People's knights. We are saved. Everyone exclaimed, and then they were ecstatic. The carnivorous plant-type leopard also shifted its attention from the disabled person in front of it. Danger. There is a big danger. Driven by instinct, the leopard gave up the food at its mouth and wanted to escape, but a javelin was thrown from a distance and pierced the leopard's throat. The third level monster fern leopard died. Lin Ke and the people's knights rushed past, leaving only one sentence: "My people, your lives are my most precious wealth. Drop the paper and go to join the main force." Before the voice fell, the people's knights rushed to the distance again to deal with the lone monsters. The disabled people stood there, looking at the javelin trembling in the throat of the fern leopard, and swallowed their saliva. "Don't stand there. Follow me." Watson was the first to react from the feeling of being rescued, and immediately took care of everyone and left. This time, the people's mouths were no longer about other gods and legends, but the same person. Praise Master Lin Ke. Master Lin Ke loves us so much. Master Lin Ke is above. With all kinds of emotions, everyone set out on the road to join other villages. Swish. In the wilderness, Rami threw a javelin and killed a big bird that fell from the sky. Rami, good long-range attack. Lin Ke praised and took everyone to crush the body of the big bird directly and chose to continue wandering in the wilderness. Haha, Master Lin Ke is too kind. Rami laughed. As a level 10 bard, even if he is not good at strength, his body is pretty good. It's easy to nail a level 3 big bird. Master, we are close to the fortress now. Butler Billy estimated the distance and reminded him at the right time. Well, it doesn't matter. I just want to take a look. Lin Ke had heard from before that there was no star level aura in the fortress, so he wanted to come and investigate it in person. The closer they got to the fortress, the more monsters gathered. Everyone was no longer as relaxed as before, but was fully focused and alert. Sophie sang a ballad softly, holding a thin book in her hand, with Sophie's music score on the cover. Nix held the light green glass medicine bottle in his left hand and a pitch black medicine bottle in his right hand, which were medicine for injuries and poisons. Thin lines of energy extended from Butler Billy's hands, connecting to everyone, and condensing the knights into a whole. Lalita carried a giant hammer, and John held a shield, guarding Lin Ke's side. Lin Ke rode on the Gillabul, with several thin air pressure shields protecting the vital parts of his body. Two sharp air pressure blades formed on both sides of the mount to cut the passing monsters. The monsters along the way could not stop their charge at all. Gradually, the team approached the fortress. Suddenly, Lin Ke's pupils shrank. Someone, please vote for me. In addition, there will be an extra update at 6 o'clock tonight. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, Redemption of the Dark Girl. Someone. Lin Ke immediately spotted the figure under the Azan wall in the distance. Not just one person, but two people. Master, that's King Che. You punished him by carving his name under the Azan wall before. When everyone was surprised, John revealed the identity of one of them. However, the other person was even more surprising. A short thin little girl stood next to King Che, carrying an exaggeratedly large sickle. There were clearly two people in front, but I couldn't sense their breath. That little girl was the dark girl. Lin Ke's pupils shrank, and he approached the Azan wall. Boom. Aofu also turned into lightning and fell from the sky. However, everyone did not approach rashly because there were already many monster corpses around the dark girl and Kingcha. Whenever a monster was attracted by the smell of blood or by living people and wanted to get close, it would be harvested by the dark girl's sickle. Slowly approaching there, Lin Ke gathered 12 points of vigilance, and Aofu and the others did the same. As Lin Ke got closer, he saw that the young man named Kingcha was still carving words on the stone bricks with his bloody nails. On the wall of Azan, many bricks were already engraved with names, representing the Azan soldiers who died on the battlefield. Although Lin Ke withdrew because of the eldest prince, he also left some people for the great sword Earl and his men for training, including the nurses trained by Nyx. And Kingcha was one of the people who stayed. Don't get closer. Just as Lin Ke and his men continued to move forward, the voice of the dark girl came out. Lin Ke and Aofu looked at each other and nodded. Aofu spoke, "Your Majesty, the dark girl, I'm Aofu." It's funny to say that Aofu and Wu Mian are close friends, but when facing Wu Mian's daughter, he can only call her Your Majesty. After all, he is talking to the incarnation of God as a legend. Yeah. The dark girl responded lightly and then tilted her head to watch Kingcha carving words. Kingcha also seemed to have lost her sense of everything, just numbly carving a few names there. Lin Ke and Aofu were confused. What does this dark girl mean? Lin Ke thought about it, then turned to another aspect and asked, "Excuse me, how is Princess Lin Ke these days?" Princess Lin Ke. Lin Ke is Wu Mian's favorite daughter, and she is said to be spoiled by her brothers and sisters. When she heard Lin Ke's name, the dark girl had a little reaction and turned to look at Lin Ke. The dark girl had 2 ponytails, her hair revealed a mysterious black color, and her pupils were purple and weird. This person, his fate is between life and death. I wanted to give him salvation, but later I found out that he was actually alive, so I was observing him. I was very curious. The dark girl explained why she was paying attention to Kingcha. Lin Ke was about to ask, but the dark girl continued, "Little Lin Ke is very annoying. Do you want her? If you do, I'll give her to you." Her voice was indifferent, and it was hard to tell whether she was happy or angry. It felt like she was saying that giving Lin Ke to Lin Ke was as easy as killing a powerful level 15 monster. Lin Ke nodded in hesitation. The dark girl waved her hand, and a small patch of black appeared in the air, like a large drop of ink. Then, a figure emerged from it. "What else are you doing? I'll kill all your petitioners. Kill your world tree. I'm going to throw a sun in there. AHH. Before she could say anything, Rika roared, "I'm talking. You." However, after seeing that it was Lin Ke, Rika exclaimed and immediately changed her words. "You, how have you been recently? By the way, I miss you so much, Lin Ke." As she said that, Rika ran over with joy, jumped up and jumped onto the cow's back, and hugged Lin Ke directly, rubbing her delicate face against Lin Ke's face covered with dust and sand. "You don't know, I went to the kingdom of the dark girl. It was so scary. There were man-eating monsters everywhere, and those people wanted to eat me. Woo woo woo." Rika sobbed softly there. Everyone was speechless. "Okay, stop pretending. We are all one family." Lin Ke patted Rika's back helplessly. Rika showed half of her head and looked behind Lin Ke. Sure enough, there was only Azan's people's knights. She rolled her eyes and continued, "I'm really scared. That place is so dark, and it's the law of the dark girl. I hate it so much. I just want to sleep there. I heard that if you sleep for a long time, you will become stupid." Okay. Lin Ke couldn't do anything about Lin Ke, so he quickly changed the subject. "Do you remember what happened before you went in? Now, the fortress has been breached." "What? How is it possible?" Lin Ke's attention was immediately diverted when she heard this. She jumped off the cow's back, looked at the empty military camp and the great wall fortress full of monsters and monster corpses, and said in disbelief, "Is Dad going to clean up the house? Or is that old guy, the sun god, really continuing the laws and bloodline of Big Brother? What the hell?" Lin Ke didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's not that the Emperor Wu Mian wants to clean up the house, nor is it the sun god. It's your eldest brother's own problem. Lin Ke briefly explained what happened, then looked at Lin Ke and said, "Your Highness, the Lord of Gila, Lin Kazan, needs help from the royal family. Princess Lin Ke calmed down at this time and knew the current situation, so she immediately answered seriously, Lin Ke, my father and others haven't come back yet. This problem is more serious than the problem of the lava swamp. The Emperor Wu Mian has not come back, which is more serious than the problem of the lava swamp! Exclamation mark. Lin Ke suddenly understood something. In the previous life, what problem was more serious than the tension between the forces in the region? It must be the invasion of aliens. When two countries fight to the death, there is a premise that there is no invasion by external forces. It's okay for two villages to fight, but when outsiders come, the two villages must be united against the outsiders. Brothers fight, but they must fight together when facing outsiders. Therefore, something more serious than the lava swamp and the kingdom of Gila must be related to the entire Nassim. At this time, Princess Rika said as a matter of course, but my brother can't be injured by just a few star levels. The fog can't hurt him either. No, the darkness is also hidden there. I think there is a conspiracy. Chapter 171, Encirclement. Azan's desperate situation. There is a conspiracy. Lin Ke said with certainty, my eldest brother is the best at playing these. Lin Ke couldn't help but be curious when he heard it. Are you sure? In his opinion, the eldest prince was stubborn and not upright, but he was also the son of light. It is normal for such a stubborn person to make a stubborn decision. A person's personality and thoughts may change with the passage of time, the increase of social experience, and the growth of experience. But it is also possible that they will never change from beginning to end. Some people are stubborn from childhood to old age, and they are stubborn old men. Some people are romantic by nature, and they keep their nature from childhood to old age until death. In Nassim, Lin Ke saw Aofu, who had a lifespan of hundreds of years, but was still socially phobic. Aofu probably spent hundreds of years staring at thunder and lightning, so his personality and experience did not change much. Like in his previous life, when Lin Ke read novels, he always felt that some people lived for tens of thousands of years, but their personalities were still very bad, and their IQs were touching. But then I thought, a person who has lived for tens of thousands of years may have lived in the same way for tens of thousands of years. His IQ and fixed thinking have determined his life, his attitude towards enemies, friends, and everything. Therefore, if you read the novel from another point of view and perspective, you will feel that this person has a low IQ and that person has a low EQ. However, many times, this is also an empirical error. That is, many people always think that living a long time means that they will definitely become very powerful. However, this is not the case. Therefore, Lin Ke thinks that this prince may have become a legendary prince because of his strong bloodline, backing, and strength. In fact, he may be a greedy, sister-loving, and stubborn shabby. Now from what Rika said, this prince actually has a conspiracy? Exclamation mark. When I was a child, I had a brother who wanted to enslave my eldest brother's soul. As a result, my eldest brother used a conspiracy to transfer the enslavement power to my father. As a result, my brother was almost shocked into an idiot. Rika explained a little. By the way, at that time my eldest brother was only 20 years old, and the other brother was only 6 years old. Lin Ke, your family's daily activities are quite interesting. But I'm just a little lord, your eldest prince. Lin Ke was a little surprised, but before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Lin Ke. Don't be so conceited. Lin Ke rolled her eyes at Lin Ke. It's definitely not because of you. Why? Lin Ke asked, and he fell into deep thought. Lin Ke was the same. Unfortunately, Lin Ke felt very irritated after just thinking about it. Forget it. Forget it. You should do these brain-intensive things. From now on, you will be responsible for thinking in our family, and I will be responsible for protecting you and fighting outside. Lin Ke, I never promised you, sister. Exclamation mark. Let him, a man of a very old age, fall in love with a little kid of 6 or 7 years old. The minimum sentence is 3 years and the maximum is death penalty. Lin Ke always felt that he couldn't get over it. First, Lin Ke was too rich, and there was always a feeling that he was marrying into the family and eating gigolo. And second, Lin Ke was too young. Little significance in all aspects. Ahem. That. Lin Ke, you can go back with us, and you can also help. Lin Ke quickly changed the subject. Great. Fighting and killing is what I like the most. I find that I'm very suitable for it. Lin Ke cheered. Finally I can suck blood again. It's really boring to be with the dark girl, and I can't really suck the souls of the petitioners. It's boring. When saying this, Lin Ke clearly felt a little vibration coming from the Azan wall. Okay, stop talking. Find a mount to ride together. Well, except for mine. In order to prevent the dark girl from coming out and locking Lin Ke in again, Lin Ke quickly waved his hand. Lin Ke immediately jumped onto Lalita's mount. Lalita, I missed you so much. Lalita carried the double hammers on her shoulders and said generously, haha, sister. By the way, have you seen King Ke? I think his skin is very good, cold white skin. Lin Ke also nodded desperately, yeah. Why is that? Lalita whispered in a voice that everyone could hear. You should know that King Ke was a fair-skinned, beautiful, and clean-looking bottom, and the one who died was a hot-blooded soldier top. Lalita began to tell the story, and Lin Ke's eyes were filled with hearts. Damn, you will teach the children bad things like this. Lin Ke was a little speechless. Why are all his followers abnormal? Fortunately, Nix and John are pretty good. Watson and Ramir are also okay, and the others seem to be pretty normal. After all, it's Lalita who is crazy all day long. Lin Ke didn't want to listen to Lalita's dirty words, so he started to drive the Gila Niu back. Now that he had explored the general situation, he should go back now. He needed to stay with his people and protect them. Lin Ke left quickly with the people's knights, leaving behind the great wall full of monsters. Just after Lin Ke left, the figure of the dark girl appeared again, looking at the direction where Lin Ke left with an indifferent expression. Suddenly, a voice sounded beside the dark girl. Lin Ke likes that little noble very much. Yes, I like him too. Wisps of mist condensed from the air and formed a figure. Oh, I like him too. Then came a man's voice. The eldest prince. If Lin Ke and the others were here, they would definitely be able to hear that it was the eldest prince's voice. The voice came from the empty space next to the dark girl, but the eldest prince was not seen. But no matter how much you like him, it is not as important as eliminating the remnants. Haha, the cute little noble, you can only sacrifice. The eldest prince's voice was filled with contempt and laughter. It's our misfortune to have a perverted brother like you. Misty snorted coldly, none of us has tasted love. This is all your credit, you pervert. It's my honor to have a sister like you. The eldest prince's voice was very gentle. How can a normal man be worthy of you? Forget it, I'm too lazy to tell you, but... The mist condensed by the mist dissipated again, leaving only a sentence. If you do this to the nobles of the kingdom, you can wait to be punished by your father. Seeing this, the eldest prince did not talk to the mist again, but chewed the words in the mist's words, muttering, Father. The people's knights ran all the way. Strangely enough, Lin Ke found that there were not as many monsters along the way as he had imagined, which made Lin Ke feel uneasy. Wolf pack tactics. Chimpanzee tactics. Lion group tactics. In the previous life, many predators would use these tactics to hunt. In layman's terms, it is outflanking. Could it be that these monsters want to outflank him, as an exclamation mark? Why? Thinking of this possibility, Lin Ke immediately began to think. Doing these things requires motivation. If there is a reason, Lin Ke can only think of three. One is that humans in the kingdom of Gila have long suppressed the lava swamp, and now the resistance is fierce. But in the past, Lady Tai did not take good care of the lava swamp, but instead fought against it with the stars and the ocean of waves. Humans and Warcraft are not incompatible, and there are many magical pets. The second reason is that Azan has made efforts in the past few months to keep the lava swamp at the border of the kingdom of Gila. It is not an exaggeration to regard Azan as a thorn in the eye. The third reason is the King of Gods. Lin Ke still remembers the curse of the King of Gods and the devout believer mentioned in the task. There must be that believer in Warcraft. So the legendary giant snake attacked Lin Ke before, so this time it is probably because of Lin Ke, King of Gods. Lin Ke muttered in his heart. Sure enough, blessings and disasters are dependent. What he got from the King of Gods, he will also return at a corresponding price. But thinking that the giant snake didn't kill him at that time, Lin Ke was a little confused. This is what he has been thinking about all the time. Not to mention the speed of the legend. Even the speed of Aofu at the star level can travel thousands of miles in an instant. There was only a little time on the battlefield at that time, and the giant snake was as slow as a turtle. Lin Ke knew that the giant snake did it on purpose. Now the most likely possibility is that the giant snake is on his side, and the attack at that time was to induce Andrew's sanctions or the oral order of Emperor Wumian. This is to preserve the Great Wall Fortress, otherwise the Great Wall Fortress may not be able to withstand it if a legend comes. Therefore, the giant snake is actually on his side, at least on the side of the Gila Kingdom. But since the siege action was made, and Lady Tide also fell, it proves that there is a devout believer among the other side's monsters. But knowing this is useless. It is necessary to be surrounded. Lin Ke was anxious, and his speed was even faster. There must be no accidents. I hope these speculations will come to nothing. Passing through Parrot City, through Torrent City, through Bison Town, through Milk City. However, after running for a long time, Lin Ke still saw it. Crowds. The surging crowds rushed in his direction. Lin Ke felt his hands and feet were cold. These are the people of Azan. In front, the people of Azan ran towards this side in panic. These are the people from other territories of Azan. The people near the castle probably just walked to the vicinity of Parrot City, but people in other places have already begun to retreat. Teacher, go back and tell everyone to stay near the castle. No, go to the fortress. Go to the Great Wall Fortress to garrison. The only way Lin Ke can think of now is to go to the Great Wall Fortress. There is a complete defense there, which was built by many nobles together. Compared with the Great Wall Fortress, Azan's defense is not good enough. What's more, there is also a dark girl there. At least there will be one more star level combat power. Okay, be careful. Orf's voice came, and he turned into a thunder and rushed to the south. We hope to catch up. Lin Ke's heart sank to the bottom, and he said to Rami next to him, Rami, go and organize the refugees to retreat in an orderly manner. Lord Luca Azan is the controller of Luca Castle in the northernmost part. In Lin Ke's previous summons, he also met Lin Ke and surrendered to Lin Ke. It's just that it was in person, and it was different behind the scenes. TSK, that little Azan wants us to retreat. The eldest prince is in the fortress. What can we do? Luca, who was full of fat intestines, glanced at the note in his hand and threw it into the burning coal pile beside him. That's right, sir. That little Azan wants us to hand over the military power. Luca's butler nodded and bowed to echo his words. Luca smiled contemptuously. Even Garros can't control me, let alone Lin Ke. By the way, go find a farmer to kill and let him take the blame for this note. Do you understand? The butler smiled and nodded, then asked, how about Fenir's father a few days ago? I remember the master said Fenir looked pretty good. Speaking of Fenir, the light in Luca's eyes became obscene. He touched his belly, which was like a freak in October, and felt a stream of heat gathering under his lower abdomen. Okay, let's have Fenir. Remember to prepare a whip. You know my preference. By the way, that little Martha died of plague last night. Go and talk to the farmer. If they are unhappy, you know what to do to make them happy. Luca looked at the butler calmly, and the butler understood and retreated. Seeing this, Luca was very satisfied. He chose a more comfortable posture, stuffed his whole fat body like a pig into the chair again, and then began to close his eyes and rest, waiting for the butler to do his job. However, just when he was about to fall asleep, a series of noisy voices came from outside. Which blind pariah? I will execute him. Execute all of them. Luca, who was taking a nap, frowned, stood up and went to the balcony, shouting down. However, before he finished speaking, he saw a scene that frightened him extremely. In the distance, a large group of monsters were rushing towards this direction, and the violent magic fluctuations made the entire castle full of slight elemental tremors. There are too many. There are so many monsters. This. Luca's body instantly turned cold, and he felt that he couldn't breathe. This is real. There is a tide of monsters. Luca had a flash of regret in his heart. If he had listened to Lin Ke earlier and retreated to the noble territory that was not Azan's territory, it would be better. Of course, he didn't care about the farmers, guards, and servants who were about to die tragically. He just regretted that he was about to leave this beautiful world. Boom. Lin Ke didn't have time to think. In the distance, a black giant 8 more than 10 meters tall spewed a huge energy ball towards Lin Ke castle and razed the castle to the ground in a burst of white light. Roar. Ah. The monsters roared and screamed, announcing their arrival. And in the distance, in the Mantis Lord, Viscount Mantis rode on his mount with an indifferent expression, surrounded by his army. Master, do we really not need to go for support? His butler came up the mountain and asked softly. Viscount Mantis glanced at him with a cold smile in his eyes, and then drove his mount back. Be well defended, and don't let any living things come over. Chapter 170 To the Will of the Human Race. Have you sent out all the letters for help? Lin Ke's face was gloomy on the Great Wall. Yes, master, but no one has replied yet. The surrounding lords have all, well, retreated. Butler Billy bowed. Retreat. Escaped, right? Lin Ke knew that the relationship between lords was relatively independent. Helping you was a favor, and not helping you was a duty. If a nearby territory was invaded by monsters, Lin Ke would also think about how to take advantage of it, rather than providing assistance, unless the relationship was particularly good. As for the nobles, who had a good relationship with Lin Ke, the nearest Earl Curly was separated from them by a Viscount territory. As for the surrounding Viscounts, you know, it is very rare for two neighboring lords to have a good relationship. Very few have a good relationship through marriage, trade, etc., and most of them have disputes because of interests. Azanan has an average relationship with several surrounding Viscounts, and the worst relationship with Viscount Mance, also known as Viscount Mantis. How are the arrangements for the civilians? Lin Ke asked again. We are making arrangements. There are too many people, young master. Butler Billy was also quite troubled when he said this. We have only accepted tens of thousands of people now, but the entire Azanan territory may have more than 100,000 people. Hundreds of thousands of people used to be the population of a small town, but now they are all crowded into the Great Wall Fortress, and there is no room for them at all. You have to know that the supporting facilities of a city need to be very complete, such as clean water sources, rich and sufficient food, drainage, and sewage, etc. And the fortress was only prepared for war at the beginning, and everything was simple. Fortunately, the Great Wall Fortress stretches for thousands of miles, and there is enough space. But after Lin Ke combined various conditions, he found that this place can only last for 3 days. However, when the monster tide comes, it may not last for a day, so it is not very useful to consider these. How long will it take for the farthest batch of refugees to arrive? Lin Ke looked into the distance with a worried look. Maybe 2 hours. Butler Billy sighed, then hesitated and said, Master, at the last minute, let Lord Daofu take you away, along with the two ladies. Lin Ke shook his head slowly. No need to say, Uncle Billy, you go and get busy first, and prepare for battle in half an hour. As he said that, Lin Ke looked up and shouted, Teacher. Bang. Aofu appeared. What's wrong, little Lin Ke? It can be seen that Aofu was also very worried at this time. Teacher, have you dealt with your plane? Lin Ke was asking about Aofu's Thunder Force plane. Okay, if you look carefully, you may find the legend, but in the Thunder Force plane, even the legend can't beat me. Aofu gestured to Lin Ke to rest assured. Lin Ke nodded slowly, and then said, I'm sorry, teacher, for involving you in Azanan. Before meeting Lin Ke, Aofu was a carefree free-spirited 19th level strongman. But now, he is a legend dragged down by the Azanan family. Little Lin Ke, you are my only family member. Aofu did not say whether he was a disciple or not. He looked at Lin Ke more like a grandfather looking at his grandchildren. Lin Ke smiled. Yes, Aofu was his family. However, his followers, his people, were also a family. Teacher, let everyone hear my words. Lin Ke took a deep breath and exhaled slowly, deciding to say something before the battle. Whether it was to boost morale or to vent emotions, he always had to say something. Okay. Aofu took out the Thunder Staff, used a legendary version of the amplification spell, and then nodded to Lin Ke. Lin Ke first slowly closed his eyes and recalled everything in his past and present lives. At a critical moment, civilians either accepted the death or fought back. What he hoped was that since they would all die anyway, they would die standing up before dying, rather than living on their knees. So he spoke, "My people, I'm Lin Ke." Lin Ke's voice rang out in every corner of the Great Wall Fortress. Whether they were eating, crying, and regretting, or praying and cursing, they all raised their heads. "I'm your lord, or the future lord. Here, I need to say sorry to everyone." As soon as these words came out, all the villagers were surprised. The lord apologized. This is not unheard of in Nassang, at least the people of Azan have never heard of it. The lord is the master of everything in the territory. I killed people who belong to my territory, and no one else can do it. I ate anything in my territory, and no one else can do it. Because the lord is everything. But now, their kind-hearted master Lin Ke actually apologized to them, the civilians whose status is even humbler than grass. They didn't understand, but their attention was diverted to it all at once. I have read many books, met many lords and nobles, and killed many monsters, and in one book, Emperor Wumian said that the human race will always stand. I wonder why the human race will always stand? Why are other races likely to fall? So I went to see, listen, feel, touch, and think again. Then, I discovered it. When Lin Ke said this, the leader bloodline in his mind was glowing slightly, releasing its power. Back then, all races lived on the earth. The Holy Life Alliance occupied 80% of Nassang's territory. The ocean was the kingdom of mermaids, powerful and overbearing dragons, tenacious mushroom people, crazy and cunning goblins, mysterious and weird enchantresses. In ancient times, humans were just one branch of the Holy Life Alliance, and the lowest one at that. We endured the ridicule, exploitation, and trampling of other races. We couldn't feel a bit of light and warmth. At this point, the civilians of Azin had been occupied by the sense of oppression, and even a few lords and pioneer knights were secretly frightened. However, the backbone of our human race is upright and tall. We humans are also legendary. Back then, countless ancestors fought one after another and forcibly cut off a small piece of territory from the Holy Life Alliance, which was smaller than the current Azan. They regarded this country named Ultimate Black and Brilliant White as the last hope of the human race. In the anger of the Holy Life Alliance, our ancestors used their teeth as weapons, pieced together shields with flesh and blood, and formed war songs with roars. If your legs are broken, tear them with your hands. If your hands are smashed, bite them with your teeth. If there is nothing left, our ancestors can still disgust the enemy with saliva. And titus for and tooth, blood for blood. Lin Ke's voice was sonorous and powerful, and it gradually attracted more things in the eyes of the civilians. If they want to kill us, rob our wealth, and insult our wives and children, we will pierce their bodies. Since ancient times, our human race has survived in Nassang, not relying on sharp claws or hard skin. What we rely on is wisdom, knowledge, and heritage. It is kindness, compassion, unity, and sacrifice. It is also the courage to burn our boats, the will to not fear difficulties or death. At this point, Lin Ke paused, and then continued word by word. I, Lin Ke Azin, your lord. I will definitely lead the charge. I have been staying up late to write these days, and I can't bear it anymore. Let's see how many more days I can add. I don't want to disappoint my book friends. In addition, can anyone who has monthly tickets give me some? Love you. Chapter 173 The Significance of Leadership. Lead the charge. Lord Lin Ke, in this situation, still wants to lead the charge. Lord Lin Ke. Someone muttered to himself. Master Lin Ke. Those who are called Master Lin Ke are all from Azan Castle. Whether they are slaves, servants, followers, or those nobles and professionals, they all feel that their emotions have changed. Haha, Mr. Lin Ke's words are more inspiring than my poems. Rami smiled. TSK, you are so conceited. You are not as handsome as the master. Lalita rolled her eyes, and they were maintaining order. That's right. Princess Liquor ate sour fruit cake with a relaxed look. The person I like is the best. Master Lin Ke. Nix's tear glands burst into tears, and he was moved. Master, I will follow you forever. John, who was arranging accommodation, solemnly swore to the sky, and even the people around him respected him. Sophie, Watson, Granny Hissay, Bulljack, Little Yale, Ms. Black Mountain. Everyone's mind was mobilized by Lin Ke. The followers who would never betray him at first had a strong admiration for Lin Ke. Their lord was the greatest and most noble lord they had ever seen. Following such a lord was their honor. Even without following him, just becoming his servant and working hard, people would feel immersed in glory. My people, pick up all the weapons you can pick up. Charge with me, Lin Ke shouted, and then followed off down the fortress wall. From a distance, Lin Ke heard the voices in the fortress, either cheering or clanging. When they arrived at the foot of the wall, some people were looking at Lin Ke from below, looking forward to it. Lord Lin Ke, this is my homemade cheese. I have no money, I only brought this. An old woman, holding two little grandchildren, holding a small piece of cheese with a little dust on it, tremblingly handed the cheese in her hand up. The people around him included middle-aged men, 3-year-old babies, octogenarians, all kinds of people. They all looked at Lin Ke with gratitude and respect. The people were never unaware. Everything the people above did was seen clearly by the people below. The people of Azan knew who Lin Ke was fighting for. Their master Lin Ke could have fled with a legendary master who was more powerful than the gods, but he chose to stay. Perhaps, in the eyes of many nobles, this was stupid, slow and not worth it. But in the eyes of the people, okay, I'll try it, and you can keep the rest. Lin Ke saw his own reflection in the eyes of these people. In the eyes of the nobles, he was himself, and in the eyes of the people, he was the nobles. Master Lin Ke, these are my eggs. Master, try the dried fruit. Master Lin Ke. The people didn't know how to express their feelings. They just wanted to give Lin Ke their best. Lin Ke was even more moved. This is the people's return. Not material things, but this kind of trust, support, love and admiration. Suddenly, Lin Ke felt something in his heart break. The decision mission is completed. You will lead your people to create miracles and great deeds belonging to Azan. No matter how it starts or how it ends, as long as the Azan people exist, Azan will be vigorous and immortal. Reward, leader, profession. The mission is completed. A glimmer of enlightenment flashed in Lin Ke's eyes. There is only one characteristic of the leader profession. The characteristic, people. Lin Ke closed his eyes and entered the soul space. All the feelings of his past and present lives flowed through him. The leader blood trembled slightly, and another branch forked at the top. On one side is a knight, and on the other side is the leader, the profession leader. At the same time, Lin Ke felt that part of the energy of the knight was separated and flowed to the leader. Level 2 leader. The leader blood trembled slightly, and a skill emerged spontaneously. Leader unique skill, shared destiny. Feeling this mere to level skill, Lin Ke's eyes flashed with shock. This skill is very special. It looks very similar to Sophie's music score. Maybe it will be useful later. Thinking of this, Lin Ke opened his eyes, looked at the villagers next to him, and said gently, "Don't worry, people of Azan, the fortress will not be breached before I fall." He asked everyone to retreat, and everyone knew that they would cause trouble, so they returned to the fortress. Lin Ke looked into the distance and saw a black line spreading over. It seems that the refugees in the far north have died. Lin Ke's face became serious, and with the help of Orth, he turned on the loudspeaker again. "Everyone, get ready." At the command, the young and strong men who had trained for no more than 2 hours picked up swords, spears, guns, and shields and stood on both sides of the fortress. On one side, they faced the great swamp to prevent possible encirclement. On the other side, they faced the dark herds of beasts in the north. At this time, Orth had also taken off. As a legend, he could not intervene in non-legendary wars, and at most he could only guarantee Lin Ke's survival. This was also what Lin Ke requested. He guessed that the strong man who had given him the wand of annihilation should be monitoring the situation here at any time. In order to prevent AOF, one of the last trump cards, from being teleported away, Lin Ke decided to let AOF wait and see. His last move was the wand of annihilation. Perhaps there could be one more, which was the newly appeared leader skill, shared fate. When Lin Ke was riding on the back of the ox and closing his eyes to think, the people's knights were already in place. Behind the people's knights were the guards, that is, the sword and shield soldiers, archers and other soldiers trained by Lin Ke himself. At the last line of defense were the pale and thin civilians. Some of them held sickles, some held hammers, and some held sharpened branches and sticks in their hands, looking nervously into the distance. Azan, beautiful Azan. The noble princess sang love songs here. The young Lion King rose here. The eternal summer still stands the great wall. Even the sun can't make everything depressed. Rami began to use his strongest skills, and the magic power spread far away with his singing, making the people within a radius of 3 miles increase a lot of strength and agility. At the same time, Sophie also began to sing her destiny. Territory will is our only will. Spirit, let us stand. The mighty torrent of destiny cannot stop us. Sophie's song and Rami's poem complemented each other, dispelling the panic and fear in everyone's heart. People of Azan, I will lead the charge. As he said this, Lin Ke raised the enchanted iron sword in his hand high, and at the same time, a glowing flag was hung above his head. Level 1 magic, illumination. This is the illumination that he asked of to add to him. This illumination is as red as blood. This is the flag of Azan. Azan flag. Therefore, in the eyes of everyone, Lin Ke's position became extremely conspicuous. Of course, the same was true among the beasts on the opposite side. The glory of Azan is high and immortal. Lin Ke shouted, it is better to die than to live in vain. We will never sacrifice in vain. The human race will never show weakness to them. We know why we are fighting. People, be strong. They can destroy our bodies, but they can't defeat our will. Drive them out of our land. Let them roll back to their jungles and swamps. Remember what we are protecting. Look ahead, now. The monster tide not far away has arrived. Lin Ke raised his iron sword and shouted, everyone, charge. I finished coding last night, so I will post the chapters at noon, but I won't add more chapters recently. The editor said that there will be recommendations for me later, so I should save up the manuscripts and post them together when the time comes. Open bracket _ close bracket. Chapter 174 Fearless Charge. 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 For the efforts of our ancestors. For the rest of the dead. We will fight to the death. We will pay with blood. We will survive. Either Azan will stand forever, or he will become a scar on the enemy's body. Our descendants will remember how brave his ancestors were. Everyone, go all out. This is the place we are defending. Whoever dares to set foot on our land will be remembered forever. Never retreat. Until the last person. No matter what, we will not stop until we die. The glory of Azan is calling us. Our time is now. Never surrender. Lin Ke roared loudly, charged, and plunged into the tide of monsters. He was not alone. He still had his knights, his followers, and his people. Haha. Damn the monsters. My hammer will sweep across the 4 directions. Lalita laughed wildly, swinging her 2 riveted hammers with great force. With the blessing of the charge, monsters below level 10 would either die or be injured. The glory of Azan. Every word Ramir uttered represented an encouragement, which made everyone's professional energy boil. Cooperation. Cooperation. Butler Billy and Butler John used their skills together, one letting everyone share the damage, and the other letting everyone gather their strength together. During the charge, there was a cow with bottles and jars hanging on it, and the owner of the bottles and jars was nowhere to be found. This is Nyx's mount. Nyx turned into a white shadow and shuttled back and forth among the people's knights. With his furry palm, he could basically heal everyone's wounds with just a light pat. This is just the people's knights. Lin Ke led the people's knights to fight against the tide of monsters, but he could not stop all the monsters. Explode. Explode. Blast these beasts to death. Ha ha ha. Explode. 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 Granny Zisa stood hunched on the top of the Azan wall, with boxes of sulfur, saltpeter, charcoal, etc. behind her. She opened her hands, with a faint white light flickering on them. The powder behind her floated up out of thin air, gathered above her head, and then tilted down. It was like rivers gathered together, and turned into a waterfall. The tilted powder floated towards the monsters, and then exploded, when they got close. Boom. 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 The lethality was not great, but it had enough deterrence and fright. Especially behind her stood Ms. Black Mountain, continuously transmitting power to Granny Zisa. Workers, unite. On the other side, Watson raised his arms and shouted, with disabled people, women, and children, and other widows, orphans, and disabled people behind him. His fist exuded a metallic luster, and there was a touch of red belonging to Azan. Roar. A fire-breathing boar rushed over. Watson and the workers behind him did not cry or fear. They shouted for unity and followed Watson. Bang. Watson, who was only level 2, knocked the level 4 fire-breathing boar to the ground with one punch. However, a level 3 swamp wolf next to him had already opened its bloody mouth to Watson. Be careful. Not far away, Bull Jack whipped over with a whip, knocking the swamp wolf's mouth off, but his arm was bitten off by a flaming lioness. Are you okay? Watson was startled and came to check the situation. It's okay. Bull Jack smiled indifferently and whipped a man behind him with a whip. With each whip, Bull Jack's arm recovered a little, but the man he whipped collapsed, and his normal and well-proportioned body became skin and bones. Slave owner, skill, blood-sucking. Your skill. Although Watson knew that this skill was given by Lin Ke, he also knew that the man whipped by Bull Jack was enslaved because of committing crimes. But he felt uncomfortable instinctively. Okay, support Her Highness Rika. Bull Jack didn't notice Watson's expression, but looked to the other side. Watson also looked over. He saw a huge giant ape rushing over, with a terrifying energy ball condensed in its mouth. HMPH, annoying monster. Hating monster. Rika held a pink magic wand, then flipped her hand, and took out a bottle carved out of sapphire from the space ring, and drank it in one gulp. Ha ha ha, my Rika is back again. Hehe. Rika laughed wildly, looking like a Lalita. Her hair fluttered wantonly, and her momentum rose steadily. Level 7. Level 8. Level 9. Level 13. Level 16. Level 18. Level 18. This time, the potion that Rika used raised her to level 18. Then she flipped her hand again, and 3 seeds were shaken out of a delicate small bag made of fur of an unknown animal, and thrown far away. Haha, my big brother gave it to me, come and try it. While Lika was talking, 2 of the seeds grew rapidly in the air. One turned into a human form, and the other turned into a scepter. 2 Likas. 1 plant Lika, 1 real Lika. The remaining seed flew like a bullet and penetrated the monsters directly after encountering them. In the process of penetration, it would take away a lot of the monster's vitality. Every time a monster was killed, Lika's eyes became more weird. On the battlefield, the most powerful giant ape so far was being confronted by 2 Likas. Elsewhere, the Azan people were also fighting with monsters and wild beasts. There were ordinary people who pierced the throats of level 3 monsters, and there were also those idle professionals in the city who were accidentally bitten by wild beasts. The battlefield fell into anxiety in just a moment. Lin Ke, on his side, was doubtful. Where did those beings above level 15, those star level monsters, go? Inside the Azan wall. Furlong and Antawa could not see the people fighting in the distance. They stayed with the servants, huddled in the crowded passage inside the wall. The passage was spacious, but there were too many people, and mixed with various smells such as sweat, foot odor, and dirt. The environment was extremely bad. Don't be afraid, sister. Lin Ke will definitely be able to do it. We must believe in him. Furlong tried to comfort Antawa, although she was also extremely worried about Lin Ke. Her face was pale. Sister, I believe in Lin Ke. Antawa was also comforting Furlong. Madam, we also believe in Master Lin Ke. At this time, the captain of the maid team beside her whispered. Yes. We also believe in him. Master Lin Ke is the best. Master is invincible. The other servants also responded one after another, and for a moment, the voices of hope and prayer rang out. Furlong was encouraged for a moment, and Antawa looked around in surprise. It was the first time for them to feel such warm and heartfelt expectations. The people expressed their admiration and trust eagerly and enthusiastically, which inspired Furlong and Antawa. For the first time, they felt the power of unity. Everyone, no matter nobles, commoners, servants, slaves, or professionals, all prayed for one thing, that is, victory. When the crisis came, everyone gathered together not because of blood, status or wealth, but all blessed and prayed for one thing. The power at this time shocked Furlong and Antawa. Those were pairs of determined and hopeful eyes. Chapter 175. Garros returns. Blood, flesh, sweat. Lin Ke couldn't see anything, but he could hear the glory of Azan. Roar, roar, kill, 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 puff. Looking down from above, you can see that the Azan flag above Lin Ke's head is even more red as blood. With Lin Ke as the leader, a sharp arrow formed, directly piercing and dividing the monster tide. The professional era of Nasan is also the era of the nobles' knights. The nobles rely on the team charge of knights to stand at the top of Nasan. The highest level of Lin Ke's people's knights is only level 10, but when he charges, no monster below level 15 can resist. And the important thing is that there is not a single powerful monster to stop him. The only very powerful giant ape is being entangled by Lin Ke, and there is no trace of other powerful monsters. However, during the charge, Lin Ke only felt that the gecko bracelet on his wrist jumped, and then he couldn't help but look back. I could vaguely see a group of monsters standing densely in the air above the clouds, all surrounding the Great Wall Fortress, even including the legendary giant snake and the legendary phoenix. Monsters there. Lin Ke was furious and immediately turned the direction of the Gillable and rushed towards the fortress. The monsters wanted to destroy not only Azanan, but also the Great Wall Fortress. The Great Wall Fortress stood between the Gila Kingdom and the lava swamp. If the Emperor Wumian returned and reinforced the fortress, the lava swamp would become the back garden of the entire Gila Kingdom for you to pick. Therefore, those monster kings only divided the insignificant monster power to destroy Azanan, and the core was to destroy the Great Wall Fortress. Therefore, the Dark Girl stayed in the fortress before, and she also knew the significance of the fortress. However, those monsters were waiting for the Emperor Wumian's oral instructions to end. And the Dark Girl was also waiting, perhaps waiting for her so-called redemption. But Lin Ke's people, those men, women, old and young, his mother, his aunt, they are all hiding in the fortress. Lin Ke rushed back frantically. The people of the Knights didn't know what happened to Lin Ke, but they all followed him with all their strength. At this time, the phoenix in the sky seemed to have noticed the direction of Lin Ke's running. It casually signaled to a magic beast, and the magic beast immediately broke through the clouds and fell from the sky. Boom. The magic beast broke through the clouds and fell to the ground like a meteorite, shaking away ordinary people and magic beasts within a radius of several kilometers. An existence above level 15. Lin Ke was anxious and instantly squandered his magic power, turning it into a streamlined air pressure shield that enveloped the entire Knights. The Knights' charge became faster and more powerful. Charge. 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 Lin Ke roared 3 times, and the entire Knights condensed into one, and under the blessing of the air pressure shield, it was like a giant ship rushing towards the magic beast. Quack. The smoke from the monster's landing dissipated, and a purple frog appeared in the same place. It was the giant purple poison frog that Lin Ke had come into contact with. The giant purple poison frog that he had seen when he first met Princess Lin Ke in the castle. Quack. The giant purple poison frog stood up, and its body suddenly swelled up like a balloon, revealing its white belly, and pointed it at Lin Ke's blade. Bang. With a light sound, Lin Ke was like punching cotton, and it was cotton that bounced back. The charge was blocked, and because of the powerful recoil force, Lin Ke and the entire Knight group were thrown off their horses at once. Even including Lin Ke, almost everyone's mount was directly killed by the shock, and blood was flowing from the mouth and nose. The Knights were also injured one after another. Crack. Several monsters took advantage of the situation and attacked from the side, directly biting off the throats of 2 members, looking for death. Lin Ke saw this scene as soon as he got up from the ground, so he squeezed out the energy of the knowledge bloodline again, transformed it into the power of scholars, and then formed a sharp air pressure blade in front of his body. Charge. Lin Ke rushed forward and directly cut the 3 or 4 level monsters in half. Then he turned his head and looked at the purple poison frog. You betrayed Lady Tide. Lin Ke's eyes were slightly angry. This purple poison frog was indeed the one in the castle before. I didn't betray you. The purple poison frog looked indifferent, opened its mouth, and ejected its extremely fast tongue, aiming at Lin Ke's head. When the giant frog opened its mouth, Lin Ke's lucky bloodline trembled wildly, so he jumped to the side in an instant and actually dodged it. However, the purple poison frog's tongue retracted in an instant and then ejected again, with almost no gap in between. At this moment, John, who had just stood up, stepped forward and raised his shield to block forward. Bang! The shield shattered, and John flew backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Lin Ke was shocked, but the purple poison giant frog did not give him time to think, and another tongue flew out. Lin Ke's remaining strength condensed a pressure shield again, but it was also broken in an instant. The tongue hit his chest heavily, and he flew backwards. His eyes went black, and he almost fainted. But the remaining reason told him that if he fainted, the purple poison giant frog would either eat him or kill him completely in the next moment. In the sky, Aofu sensed the group of monsters because of the appearance of the purple poison giant frog. He was confronting those legendary monsters and had no time to care about him. So Lin Ke bit his tongue and his consciousness was awakened for a while because of the severe pain. Can't faint. Can't faint. Lin Ke forced his eyes open, and then he saw a scene that made him unforgettable. The purple poison giant frog's tongue shot out and directly penetrated the body of Butler Billy, and the position where Butler Billy was exactly where Lin Ke was before. Skill, replacement of life. As the person who protects Lin Ke, Butler Billy has this most core and powerful skill. In times of crisis, Butler Billy can use his own life to exchange for Lin Ke's life. But this skill must be activated without hesitation. If Lin Ke was just born, Butler Billy might hesitate. But today, Butler Billy chose to use this skill without hesitation. Little Lin Ke. Butler Billy opened his mouth and wanted to call Lin Ke again. He has never married in his life, and all his loyalty is given to Gyros. He protects Lin Ke as his own son. Seeing this, the purple poisonous giant frog just shook its head and retracted its tongue. Butler Billy's body fell from the air. No. Lin Ke let out a painful roar, and his body suddenly burst out with strength again, and he went forward to catch Butler Billy. Little. Butler Billy had a huge hole in his chest, and his lungs, heart, stomach, liver, etc. were all gone. However, as a professional, he still had a trace of vitality. He raised his hand, as if he wanted to pinch Lin Ke's face. Butler Billy always performed his duties conscientiously and never went beyond his duty to pinch Lin Ke's face. At this moment, he just wanted to be Lin Ke's elder and pinch Lin Ke's face. Uncle Billy, don't die. Lin Ke hugged Butler Billy and moved his face closer with tears, wanting Billy to touch him. However, at this moment, a dark shadow suddenly appeared beside him. I will redeem him. The dark girl's voice, which sounded like a holy chant, sounded, and then she just waved the sickle lightly. Butler Billy's head instantly soared into the sky, and the arm that was about to touch Lin Ke also dropped down. It fell to the ground, splashing dust. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.